Oops. This is not what I'm Oh my goodness. Hello. Hi, Lee. How are you? It's good to see you. Hello, my friend. Oh, I gotta change that. I gotta change the resolution on this thing. It defaults to the stupidest resolution. Alright, there we go. That's what I'll do. Anyway, I thought, well, I got 70% that said, please go ahead, stream away. And then I got 30% who were never going to want me to stream anyway. So here I am in direct violation of their orders. Hello, easily distracted. Are you easily distracted? Libersaltino. Your perfect is time. Your perfect is timing today. Yes, yes, girl. I am really high, but I just. Where's my weed pen? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. What did I? Oh, here it is. It's right there. I don't really know what I'm gonna say, but I thought I'd go live anyway. Oh my god, that's my new theme song. I'm not even sure what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna go live anyway. Lee, 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 Lee. I kind of do hope she gets to New Hampshire just to be a petty bitch easily. I just these are the days of petty bitches. These are the day. This is the era of the petty bitch. Welcome to the era of the petty bitch. I'm your host, Petty Bitch. Hey butterflies, how you doing? It's a crazy mixed up wacky world. I'm not really. I don't have a lot of prepared, beautiful insight as expected. But here I am. We're showing a picture. Okay, wait. What was I going to do? I was going to see if there was anything more. Well, okay. You know what there is. But we'll check in with them. Oh my God, it's Tintin. Hold on. Hold on. Oh my God, he looks like he's death warmed over. That's what my mother would have said. Let me show you this. Look at this. Look at Tintin. He looks like crap. Okay, can I tell you? This dude looks like cramp. Cramp. I don't think hearing him is
purely on skin color and not necessarily on the ability to do the job.
It was what I expected.
I just recently saw that United Airlines had hired somebody that was.
That's anti-DEI, which is Tintin. Just welcome to Petty Bitch with your host, Jerry. I love you. I love. How you doing, Jerry? Yeah, it's Petty Bitch. Yeah, it's the era of the Petty Bitch. Yeah, this will. I don't know. I mean, I suppose. I don't. I mean, I don't know how many people are voting. New Hampshire takes this pretty fucking seriously. Welcome to the era of the Petty Bitch. Yeah, Tintin looks like shit. Like that guy looks like. First of all, he's screwing Marjorie Taylor Greene. For those of you who may not be aware, this man is the current paramour of Marjorie Three Toes, Trader Green. And Tintin and I go way back. Brian Glenn from RSB Network, and he hates me and I hate him. And we will never. It's kind of like one of those. What is that? What's that relationship like when you have like a detective searching for the jewel thief? And they hate each other, but then they love it. Yeah. So this is Tintin and I. Vomit emoji times 5. For reals, right? For reals. I'll be wrong. It's such a beautiful day here. I went out to walk my dog. I didn't really get outside enough. I really want my city back. Can I just say that? I'm going to say it again. If anybody knows when I'm going to get my city back, if you could just let me know, that would be really great. It is time for Greg Abbott and his band of merry assholes to get rounded up like the fucking criminals that they are and charged with murder. 100% easily. I agree so much that what is happening in Texas, and having watched the Ken Paxton impeachment circus and everything else that comes out of Texas, and that is where my mother is buried. So I have Texas roots. I love Texas, but the governance has been despotic and evil. I mean, to points where they don't need to be evil, right? Like, this is an unnecessary evil. You know, like, it's not making you any money. Keeping that woman from getting a life-saving abortion. Ugh, these people are soulless. Absolute, like the antithesis of freedom. The antithesis of freedom. The antithesis of everything they claim to care about. They are evil just for the love of the game. Just because they can be. Just because it makes them feel somehow superior. We see that on display a lot on these YouTube streets, right? Like, people just really, I don't know. Well, I guess it is the era of the petty bitch. You're right. Yeah. I'm actually kind of glad Tintin's looking a little ragged. Okay, what do we spouting now?
Planes that Southwest Airlines had years ago that had some computer
here we go.
problems.
We're talking about how
those planes
I'm
had
guess
to ground them because of near crashes on those planes.
Is to blame
then you had
for
the 737 MAX
safety.
9.
That's where I'm gonna
here recently on an airline, Alaska airline, a door that would have been a door. It was actually a window. Got smoked out of there and ripped off, and
then what happened?
Passengers on this plane had to basically hang on for dear life.
Then what happened?
Those are the things you're concerned about. You're not concerned about, does my pilot identify as an LGBTQ member community? You don't really care about, does my pilot, how much ethnicity.
Oh, okay. Oh, I told you. Did I call it? Didn't I call it? Hi, peace, love. Didn't I call it? Didn't I call it? I mean, for reals. And, I love Daffy Duck. So, but yeah, they are, it really is, well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I understand why they're pushing these messages, because, the point is to get people, to have babies and have a workforce and, continue the status quo. The way they talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion is disgusting. It is disgusting. And these are like the leaders of the fucking, whatever. Of the party, quote unquote. What's that? Is that Fox? Let me see if I can find Fox News. Oh, I hate everything. I think I hate everything. And I hate everyone. And I hate everything. And I hate everyone. And I hate everything. Yeah. What's this? Washington Post. They have a thing. Boo, 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 boo. Let's see. Nope. Schnope. What's that? Oh, that might be really hard. Okay, I'm not gonna watch that. I think it's really hard. All right, well, we'll do this for a minute.
Again, I can't imagine you would endorse him. Well, a couple of things about that. First of all, we're already seeing
I
his
think I hate
behavior
this
as a
guy,
candidate.
right? We hate this guy. That guy
evolve
right
a little
there.
bit this week, right?
What's his
Once
name? He's
Ron
a fucking
DeSantis
congressman.
got out of the race and endorsed him, Tim Scott, Doug Burgum, of course,
Yeah, this guy's a dick.
Ramaswamy. You already saw sort of a lightening of the burden, if you will, and he's talking unity and not
leaders.
beating up on his opponents or adversaries.
DEI is the new
CRT,
CRT, and anything that has ever gone wrong in any industry, anywhere, is the ultimate diversity.
Frankly, his personality is much of what
exactly what they're
people to
trying to
him,
say, Jerry
and didn't bring people to Governor DeSantis, with all due respect to him.
Yeah.
So no, he's more than capable of that. One thing about Donald Trump that we all know, he likes to win a lot more than he likes to lose. He's capable of doing what it takes to win.
Senator, we appreciate your time here. We always thank you for coming on. Our coverage of the First in the Nation primary continues right now.
Thank you, New Hampshire.
I love New Hampshire.
New Hampshire tonight has made Bill Clinton the comeback kid.
Finally have a poll without a margin of error.
Mount up, everybody, and ride to the sound of the gun. New Hampshire. I'm here a lot. And then all of a sudden, we started getting numbers in, and everyone said, how come they like Trump so much?
This is an NBC News special, Decision 2024, the New Hampshire primary. Reporting tonight, Tom Yamas.
It is now 7 p.m. here on the East Coast, which means we are in the final stretch of this New Hampshire
We're in
primary.
the final
Some
stretch.
polls now closed in parts of the state, the rest of them closing in less than an hour. A once crowded Republican field down to the final two contenders, former President Trump and his former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, locked in a head-to-head battle for the GOP nomination. Fighting for those 22 delegates at stake tonight.
Put it on your calendars, 9 o'clock.
Tonight, truly a make-or-break moment, possibly for her campaign. A major loss could be hard to come back from, though Haley has said she's going to stay in this race either way. Her campaign spending more than $2 million on advertising in New Hampshire, just slightly less than Trump.
What they're doing is
and perhaps
suspending
more
their
notably,
campaigns
the campaign
so that
spending
if things
a
go
lot of
bad
time
for
in the
Trump,
state,
they can
on the
reactivate
ground in New
their
Hampshire for
Somebody
31 days compared to just 11 for Trump.
I know, this is
a
just
big
a
investment
show.
on both fronts, one that has boosted Haley in
But,
the polls,
you know,
but will it be enough
this
to
is
pull off
the-
an upset? Our
this is the
reporters have been
journey,
spread out
not the
across the
destiny.
state talking to voters and to campaigns. And I do want to get back to Hallie Jackson, who's at a polling site in Bedford, New Hampshire. Hallie, where you're at, did that polling site close,
Please share the
or is it one of the ones
broadcast
that
if
stayed
you would
open
be so
until 8
kind.
o'clock?
Hit the like. Really appreciate it. And if you're not
Literally seconds ago,
subscribed,
you hear the cheering.
welcome.
That's because they just announced that the polls have closed here in Bedford. Now, you're probably seeing all these people still in line. These are newly registering voters. They're going to be allowed to go ahead and cast ballots. They're going to do their thing because they've been in line here at this exact moment. But listen, this is the first time that we've seen, frankly, this blue floor space here at this location because it has been packed all day. They've had roughly 7,000 voters come and cast ballots. The majority Republican.
The real delegates are the friends we made along the way. And there's not many left, is there, Jerry?
That they have altogether. You can see, listen, this is it.
So glad
It's
you're
over.
here,
The folks are going to
Jerry.
start packing up some of the gear here, but there will still be counting that happens, obviously. The votes will be tallied. They're actually still working on some absentee ballot processing over in the corner there, Tom. And so this is what's going to happen for the next little bit, as obviously some other polling locations here in New Hampshire will stay open for about another 60 minutes. Somebody who knows this process well is Bill Klein. He is an election moderator here. This is your 40th year doing a presidential primary here in this state. You've seen a lot.
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's been a wonderful time, almost all the time. It can be challenging at times. There's things that happen, and I was a former sports official and did an NCAA Final Four in soccer. And it was through that I got roped into by a group of citizens who said that you'd probably do a good job as a moderator, making quick decisions, learning the rules, knowing how to handle people, difficult, the whole thing. And it's been fun.
And here you are essentially refereeing your 10th presidential primary in the state. Have you noticed a change over the years?
Well, obviously there's been a few changes, but some of the procedures and everything have been pretty well set down by former moderators. And when I had to learn how to do things and work with other people, we always, drew from the people that have been working the polls before us, tried to keep teams together. And that's what we've been doing here, is trying to keep transition teams ready to go so that as we maybe move or whatever happens to us, hopefully it's moving not upstairs or downstairs, but, someplace else that, hey, we've got a good continuous election process that our voters can expect good experience when they come in. And that's the way Bedford's been.
Last question for you. How has it been finding new elections workers to come in or finding election workers at all right now?
COVID was huge. And this is true throughout the entire state and probably the country, that most of our ballot clerks especially have not been under the age of 60. So when COVID hit, that was the group that definitely didn't want to be here and join us. We did require certain things, the masking and everything. Did everything we could, but a lot of those said we don't want to work, and they haven't come back. So it's getting new people. But now, this crew here, we've got about a total of, I think it's 80 people that work today's election here, which is, I don't think we're the biggest polling place in the state or the country, because only if the other big polling places use one single place. If they use multiple polling places,
are you playing a saxophone?
The numbers. But the number
Oh no, you lost sound?
Very high percentage have already worked.
Do you still have sound?
So they came into us experienced. We do training every year to make sure everybody knows.
Lee, are you good?
Change. Our equipment's changed. We've got these electronic
Lee, are you good?
machines.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bill. You mentioned too that sometimes it's hard to find some new election workers as well because of the pressure.
It is, and on top of that,
I just got my primary ballot today.
State of New Hampshire, same all across the country. I've seen some news articles, and we've had election officials
that is boring
because of the way they're being treated. And that's a tough thing because these are volunteer people. These are people that come out. 95% of our volunteers do not get paid. They could if they wanted
They
to.
act like this is a hardship. I'm sorry. I mean, I understand the safety concerns.
They're devoting their days, they're devoting their time to this, to the voting process, to democracy. And Bill, you've done that for 40 years. Thank you for what you do. We appreciate you talking to us tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Tom, there you have it. I mean, it's interesting to get the dynamic of how these things actually come together. And now, again, over here is where they're doing some of the processing. We're able to walk around and roam a little bit because obviously the polls are closed. That's it for this location. So, Tom, we're going to go find some other voters, chat with folks as we start to see in the next little bit some of the data, some of the returns start to roll in. So, Tom, I'll send it back to you back home in New York.
Wait, Hallie, before you go, is someone playing saxophone in there? Is there a little jazz? What's going on? I'm trying to figure that one out. Oh, there you go.
Friend over here. Yeah, this is Ricardo. If you want to listen to some smooth tunes as people are cleaning up and counting, he's got all the good vibes here on New Hampshire primary night. No matter who you vote for, the vibes are very chill.
It sounds like democracy.
That's so cool.
Hallie Jackson, we thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate it. I want to get back over to my friend Chuck Todd. He is
there's just nothing else.
And Chuck, as we look for exit poll data, you have something very interesting. We're talking about turnout.
Like you said earlier, this is a show for
this is now our estimate that we're able to do based on
we really went downhill
sampling precincts plus working with the Secretary of State. So look, we are saying
that's a record, right?
That would be an all-time record. Most ever. No Republican presidential primary has been over 300,000.
Right. Nobody wants to.
In theory, this is the type of turnout that a challenger like Nikki Haley would need. Right? This indicates that what we reported in our exit polls, which indicated that this is an electorate that seems to be pretty independent. Look at this, 45% of the electorate be one of the most independent electorates that we ever had. So you're seeing there's plenty of, we look here in the party identification. I mean, this is another reminder that all of that together, so that high turnout means we got a bunch of independents.
You know what was interesting in the last Suffolk-Boston Globe poll that came out, when people asked were they voting for Nikki Haley or against Donald Trump, it was pretty much even. It was about 45-45 for Nikki Haley voters. Do you think people are motivated to come out, vote in New Hampshire against former President Trump?
I think you see some of that. Like, it's not clear. I mean, I will say this, the exit polls seem to indicate, no, people are voting for Nikki Haley a little bit more than I think we went into it assuming, I think, too much in that other way. But look, this is simply a different electorate. I mean, we've got some ways to compare this to the Iowa. Let me get it over here, make sure we got them very quick so people can quickly see these comparisons. And here we go. So part of the MAGA movement, right? 46% of the Iowa electorate was part of MAGA, just 32%
so far from these exit polls.
MAGA. And again, exit polls, as you fairly note there, we have a bunch of things here. The difference between, did Biden win the election legitimately? He did not win legitimately. 66% of Iowa Republicans thought that. Only half of this electorate thought that. That, I think, is a pretty good indicator of what the core Trump vote is, for what it's worth. 49 is an interesting number now, isn't it? Right? We can look here. if Trump's convicted, right? Is he fit for office?
Right.
Not fit for office. And Iowa is just 31% of that electorate. Here, 47%. You would assume that number is a pretty heavy Haley number.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to sit there and match it up, but
Right.
that 49-47 feels like some numbers we should be watching.
I do want to ask you about the process tonight. We spoke with our decision desk elections director, if you will, John Lipinski, who was walking us through the night. Polls have closed in many parts of the state at 7. If you have more than, I think, 300,000 residents or something, you close at 8 o'clock. So when we make
as you see, we're going to get some. We're not making a call this hour.
Yeah, we're not making a call this hour.
We will not.
We should remind voters. 2016, we were able to call at 8 p.m. Eastern. We don't think that's going to happen.
We don't know.
We don't
look,
know.
in fairness, we're watching. We should get a lot of
a little later.
We should get a lot of vote count in this next hour.
Okay.
And we do our own sample. We have actual physical people at specific precincts that we want to know early returns on, and it's a way to find out if we can call. We were able to do that in Iowa.
Right.
We had these people on the ground. We have these same people on the ground. But look, you heard him. It's a 97+%, likelihood that we have to have. I will be shocked if we are anywhere near that neighborhood at 8 p.m. tonight.
When people are seeing the data come into the big board right now as it's getting fed in here, we obviously have, we should point this out, 0% in. So it says 100%.
It is. And as you saw,
this was, I think,
we watched it.
Yeah.
Data went in
Really
and
hard
data
to
came
watch.
out. So it's early.
It's coming.
It's going. Yeah. Well,
Chuck
we'll
Todd
be
has
watching.
been
But
MAGA for a while
we're
now,
just beginning.
please.
Chuck Todd, we
Could be an
appreciate it. I want to bring in a moderator of Meet the Press. Where am I going here? There's so much. It's an anchor obstacle course over here. Kristen Welker. She's back with us. Kristen, you covered the White House. You've been in and out of New Hampshire, Iowa, tracking the president's support. When we talk about those MAGA numbers that Chuck just pointed out, what stands out to you?
Well, I think that gives you a window into the possibility that Nikki Haley could have a better than expected
that's what I want to do.
night. The fact that you're not seeing the vast majority of voters identify as a part of the MAGA movement. And again, it's still very early.
Yeah.
But that is, I think, a significant data point for sure.
What is the thinking here amongst Republicans?
Yeah.
What type of night does Nikki Haley have to have? There's obviously the victory, which would be huge for her, give her a lot of momentum going into South Carolina. You have about 4 weeks before voters there get to vote. But if she loses, I mean, is there a margin? Is there a threshold where it's Republicans are going to say, okay, Nikki, maybe this is enough?
I am watching to see if she loses by, if she, first of all, she might win. Okay, there's that. If she doesn't win, how much does she lose by? If she can keep it to single digits, to within 10 points, I think she's going to argue that that's a pretty strong night for her. And I think that she will be able to argue, look, I still have a path. The question becomes, though, the electorate in New Hampshire is so uniquely suited to Nikki Haley. The fact that you have so many independents, the fact that you have so many moderates, the fact that Chris Christie's supporters, likely about 60% of them are going to go over and vote for her. You don't have that type of an electorate in South Carolina and some of the Super Tuesday states. The other early exit polls that caught my attention, majorities would be satisfied with Trump or Haley as the nominee. So over half of New Hampshire primary voters, GOP primary voters, said they would be satisfied if Donald Trump won. And a similar share said they would be happy if Nikki Haley won.
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you're not seeing this overwhelming blow. What we are seeing is Donald Trump take to his social media post and rail about the process.
You covered the White House. You know him well.
Like what he sees.
And there's been more than one post. We showed one where he was upset that independents and people who were Democrats could register in October and then vote tonight. You think he's watching some of these returns to come in, maybe hearing from his own campaign staff?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure he's tracking this in real time. We know that he's been railing about this process even before the votes got underway today. And by the way, and Hogan and Sarah can speak to this, this is something that we've seen from him before, obviously, to kind of talk about the process before the voting starts. So we're seeing that tonight. We're seeing his frustration boil over. But again, it's still very early. So it's too early to say how this night is going to turn out. But the fact that he is railing against independents being able to vote in this election is a sign that he's watching along with us. And he's not thrilled. He'd like this race to be called like Iowa. I mean, think about how early Iowa was called. That's not going to be the case tonight.
And getting that independent vote has been his argument in his language over abortion, right? He's been talking about he's not going to go to the 6-week ban because he wants to win elections, quote unquote.
Well, what's so fascinating about that is that Donald Trump appointed the 3 Supreme Court justices who made it possible to overturn Roe v. Wade. When I asked him in my interview with him if he would support that 6-week ban, which of course Ron DeSantis did sign in his state of Florida, he said he thinks that goes too far. That enraged a lot of people evangelicals, people who are opposed to abortion. And so, but he very, in a politically savvy way, said to some of his allies as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, this is going to be a political problem. And that's why you're seeing him moderate. And that is why it's infuriating some groups that are opposed to abortion.
Kristen Welker, we always love having you here. I'm sure you're going to be coming back throughout the night.
Absolutely.
When you disappear and you go somewhere, where do you go?
Where are you?
I don't even watch this. Happening. I'm not resting, Tom.
No, I know you're not.
A little update on
I feel like you're working.
news.
There's so many shows. You're going. You're jumping around.
Yes, but you are a priority.
If anybody making you guys
like the welcome
nervous,
cam. We'll just follow you around with like a welcome cam.
I'm so disappointed.
What an amazing panel you have. This is. I want to stick around and hang out with you guys.
Her.
Go on, right? I know. Home start. Kristen, we love having you. Speaking of that, it's still an early night. I do want to get to Shaq Brewster. She joins us tonight from Milford, New Hampshire. He joins us tonight, from Milford, New Hampshire.
Yeah,
and
hello.
Shaq, voting is still going on there. Another 45 minutes where you're at.
Yes, voting is very active right now. Still seeing people file in, still seeing people register to vote. And, you know, one thing that's unique about this location, it's the only polling location in the entire town of Milford. We're not too far away from the border of Massachusetts and New Hampshire. And if you go back to 2016 and look at those general election results, you saw Donald Trump win here, but then you go to 2020,
I actually was rooting for her for sure.
Win by just about 34 votes. So it's a swing area, generally speaking, and for a general elections. And also, it was almost a bellwether in 2016 when you look at the primary. And I want to bring in Pete, who you've been helping us out all day. You, the election moderator here.
Yep.
Tell me, you just did a lap around. I have about 45 minutes left of voting. What did you notice? What did you see? Are people still coming in?
People are still coming in, not as strong as in the last hour, but we'll have people coming in right until 8 o'clock for sure.
What are the numbers looking like right now?
Right now, we're on track to probably to about 5,500 voters that will cast ballots during the course of the day.
You said at the top it was about 9,800 registered voters.
Yeah, 9,682 to start the day, and so far we've added about 250 new voters, approximately. We haven't run the numbers yet.
Todd.
My math is not all that great, but that sounds like a little bit over 50% of registered voters who have cast the ballot.
That's correct. Yes, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about why this location is still open for another 45 minutes or so. What makes this different?
The town decided many years ago, decades ago, that because of the way people work, that it was best to be open from 6 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night.
Oh my God, who cares?
People that catch the people that want to stop before they go to work, and catch the people that are coming home from late in the evening.
I get it.
So the town voted that way, and it's stayed 6 to 8 ever since.
All right, you have an extra hour of work compared to other people in this state. It seems like things are going well so far, though, Tom. Here you go.
All right, Shaq Brewster for us. Shaq, we appreciate you and all your reporting. Joining us now from the Trump headquarters in New Hampshire is entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, who, of course, was once a contender in this Republican race. Then, after suspending his campaign, endorsed former President Donald Trump. Vivek, you made that endorsement in the same speech that you dropped out. Why was it so important to you to get behind former President Trump?
Look, I think there's 2 America First candidates in this race since the beginning. That was Donald Trump and myself. I do think we need an outsider, a businessman in the White House to actually lead as a chief executive. The people of Iowa spoke loud and clear. I got about 8% of the vote. I think it would have been something similar in New Hampshire. I wanted to send that vote Donald Trump's direction because we need an America First leader for this movement. And so that's why I made the decision I did.
Sounds mad.
I'm glad Ron DeSantis made the decision that he did.
I've been watching this.
I think it's time for this primary to be over.
He's representing himself
and
in murder.
Decisive general election victory that's going to be required to reunite this country. And so I felt like I was doing my duty and my part, and I hope that the other candidates now do theirs.
Vivek, why would you want to wrap this up so quickly? I got to think you're a capitalist, and one of the tenets of capitalism is competition. Don't you think a competition would make the party better, would make the eventual nominee better?
So I think we've had that competition. To be clear, I was in the thick of that competition after one state for nearly a year. Yes. Well, look, it was when it was that decisive. I do think that now, after going through New Hampshire, it will be a waste of resources. And so speaking as a capitalist, one of the things you look at is resource allocation. I don't think it's good to waste resources of large donors, small donors alike, funding what I really see as a fake race from here on out when the people of this country and of the GOP primary base have spoken loud and clear. I think the essence of what's happening, let's call this spade out for what it is that Nikki Haley and her supporters are playing for a scenario that nobody in the GOP and frankly nobody in this country should be rooting for. It's that Donald Trump is somehow wrongfully eliminated from the ballot. That's the only possible scenario that Nikki Haley has
on his own
to the
behalf,
nomination, and I think it's worth seeing that with open eyes out in the
That's
open.
what today's thing
So
is.
tonight,
I
a
highly
win is a
recommend
win for
watching.
Donald Trump, and I think that should end this primary. That's the way this should go, so we can focus on a general election where people are actually able to decide who the leader of the country actually is, rather than have resources siphoned into this primary, where some of the largest Democratic supporters, the likes of Reid Hoffman, who's paying for the lawsuits against Donald Trump, are actually paying to prop up Nikki Haley via her super PAC. And one of the things you notice about tonight, if the early reports are to be believed and the early numbers are suggestive and that are correct, that actually you have more independents and Democrats voting in the Republican New Hampshire primary than actual registered Republicans, which means that this is actually a preview of what the general election should look like. And so in that sense, I view this as a practice round for the general election. And I'm hoping not just for a victory for Donald Trump in the general, but a decisive enough victory that we can actually reunite this country around that.
No,
So
babe,
that's what
you're
I'm
not going to
hopeful
reunite
for.
shit.
But I do think ending the GOP
Right.
primary is an important step to get there.
The data is still coming in. I want to put up something on the screen
handmade
for our viewers that we've been going to throughout the night here, which is a statement from RNC chairwoman Ronna McDaniel. And she put this out while the voting was still going on in New Hampshire around, I think, 5 p.m. And basically saying if President Trump comes out strong tonight, that's a clear message being sent from our primary voters. You took issue with Ronna McDaniel during our NBC News debate. Are you surprised that you and her are now on the same page so quickly?
Well, look, I think that there's John Fetterman's been saying things about the southern border in recent weeks that I agree with as well, that we need to seal the southern border. So if Ronna McDaniel is going to speak something that to my eyes looked like it was a true statement, yes, I agree with her that the clear signal from GOP primary voters do matter. It's a separate issue from whether we need new RNC leadership. I believe we do. I think that the RNC has not been well managed or well run, but that's a question for another night. The question for tonight is really what message are Republican primary voters sending? I think they send a clear message in Iowa. I think they are sending today a clear message in New Hampshire across the board. Actual Republican primary voters. And that's one thing, one way we need to look at the results tonight is what did the registered Republican primary voters actually say versus separately, how differently do the results look with independents and especially even registered or former registered Democrats included. And I think that this is more of a test of what the general election itself could look like. So if Trump comes out tonight, as I expect and hope he will, with a victory, a victory is a victory, a win is a win. And I think that's actually a prediction of what the general election outcome could look like. And so in some ways, that New Hampshire testing ground tonight is actually going to be really positive for this race. And I do think the right thing for Nikki Haley to do soon is to get out of this race so we can focus on the general election, deliver a moral mandate, what I think could be a landslide in this general election. And that's where the focus of our resources should be, not on a fake primary that we're falsely extending far longer than the Republican primary electorate thinks it should go.
I think the voters in those primary states will say there's nothing fake about their votes. I do want to ask you, have you spoken to the former president about any type of role in the administration if he were to win the election?
I don't like smarmy people. Like, don't.
We've not had any specific conversations about what my role or future is going to be. To the contrary, my focus remains on this country. The reason I entered this race is I think it was going to take an outsider who is serious about taking on the administrative state, the permanent state, the bureaucracy in the federal government, and to do so without being beholden to outside forces, financial or special influences. That's why I was in the race. That being said, the people of Iowa sent a clear message, and I do think that if it wasn't going to be me, I went all in to support the other businessman in this race.
Well, this is
serious about taking on the administrative state
and that
deep state in the federal government, and that's Donald Trump. And I think many of the issues that Trump is running on now, these go beyond traditional partisan boundaries. Growing the economy, sealing the southern border, reviving national pride in the next generation.
Oh my God!
These are not black or white issues. I think in a deeper sense, these are not even really Democrat or Republican issues. These are American issues. And so I think this America First movement that we're leading, that Donald Trump is now leading from the front,
I mean, I've watched.
It's going to be something that actually unites Americans across many stripes and boundaries.
I haven't read his book, and I
think that's going to be the main surprise in that second term is not only how decisive the election result is, but more importantly, how we are able to reunite this country. But that starts with first reuniting the Republican Party And that's why I believe it would be healthy at this
Reuniting.
point.
You don't have a party.
Not 3 months ago, not 2 months ago, but at this point,
don't know
after the
who you
first two
are.
primary states have gone and delivered a clear,
Third of you
decisive
are
result,
fascist
to end the primary
Nazis.
to focus on what the
And
Republican
the
Party actually
two-thirds are
accomplishes in the general
the
election.
Germans.
And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we have a
That's
decisive
literally
general
it.
election
I hate to
result,
say that.
and more importantly, that we reunite this country afterwards.
Vivek Ramaswamy, we thank you for your time tonight from Trump headquarters there in New Hampshire. Uniting the party is what I'd like to talk about now with our panel. We're joined by Hogan Gidley and Sarah Matthews, who both served as White House Deputy Press Secretaries during the Trump administration.
I gotta find that.
Also with us is Rich
I
Lowry,
don't follow
editor of the
it, but
National
I'm
Review. We thank you all for being here. Rich, I didn't see them sneak you in here, but welcome to the panel.
Surprise you.
So uniting the party. So you
I
have
like
Vivek
him.
now
Evan
on the
Osnos,
same
I
page
really like
as Ronald McDaniel, essentially saying if Trump wins, this race is over.
He's
But a lot of people point
I read
out that
part
there's
of his
still
book on
50%
China.
of voters who
Really
maybe want something different, Republican voters. Do you think this process should continue, or if Trump has a decisive victory here, is it over? I'm gonna start with you, Rich.
Oh, it's probably effectively over. You know, a moral victory I don't think is enough for Nikki Haley here. It's a little bit like DeSantis. No other state was going to be as good for DeSantis. He wasn't going to get the sitting governor to endorse him, to campaign with him, the prime activist in the state, and he got 20% or 21%. She's going to do better than that in New Hampshire, but just getting close. Where else is it going to be better for her? This is a relatively moderate electorate, a lot of college-educated voters. Independents play a big role. And there are other states where independents can vote in Republican primaries more than most people think, but it's hard to see where it gets better. Where's the sitting governor going to endorse her? I mean, Chris Sununu may have campaigned harder than Nikki Haley. I mean, he put it all on the line. So close isn't going to be good enough in my view. And I would expect if she loses, it'll be kind of a DeSantis rundown where you don't immediately get out because you invested so much. You think about it for a few days and then reality sinks in and you get out and endorse Trump.
Sarah, do you think the former president,
Did you just
Ronald
hear what you
McDaniel,
said, sir?
all the people supporting Trump, do they have enough juice that if Nikki Haley loses tonight, they're going to essentially force her to stop running?
Nikki Haley's campaign has made clear that they intend on sticking it out and staying in through South Carolina. They said that they have a $4 million ad buy that they already purchased. And I think that right now we're seeing turnout be really high in New Hampshire. And that is a good sign for her and her campaign. And if she can kind of defy expectations and maybe pull or get it close enough in single digits with Donald Trump, particularly, I think she would need less than 5% single digits to actually make the case for why she should stay in through South Carolina, then maybe she could get an influx of donors who are going to be supporting her, help give her that juice to stay in the race. But if not, then there's a month in between New Hampshire and South Carolina. That's about a lifetime in politics. And so it might be tough for her to stay in.
Hogan, if former President Trump wins New Hampshire, but gets clobbered by the independent
They
vote,
can be pandered
what's the logic
to,
and what's the
and,
argument
you
that
know,
he's
like
the
he
best
could
candidate to
be
take on Joe Biden? Because you know it's going to always come down to the independents.
It does come down to the independents to some degree, but you have to turn out the base too. Base elections are what really captured Barack Obama's victory in a big way, George W. Bush's victory in a big way, mobilizing that base and finding him up. Donald Trump got millions more votes in the second election than he did. Now, obviously, it didn't turn out the way he wanted, but the expectation from Nikki Haley here is a win. They were very clear about this, and only a day before the election, a couple of days before, did they say, wait a minute, hold on, all we have to do is do really well. That month between the end of this election tonight in South Carolina is, yes, an eternity, but I'm from South Carolina. I know where the people of that state are. I know where their hearts are. It's not with their governor who was elected twice. It's with Donald Trump. And so regardless of the victory tonight and its spread, 5 points, 10 points, 15 points, 1 point, Donald Trump will be 2-0. Nikki Haley will be 0-2. He's winning
somewhere in the White House,
she's
like
not
Ben
playing there,
Carson
and he will win South Carolina. I do not see a scenario plausible, possible, probable, where Nikki Haley decides to stay in the race only to lose her home state by 35 points. I just don't see that happening.
But you know, I hear from Republicans who say, listen, I don't like Trump.
He is the
I'm still
king of the
Republican. I
Illuminati.
really dislike Biden.
If that makes
I
sense.
feel almost like a stranger in my own
You know,
party.
crazy,
You've
you
covered
might know who
Republican
Illuminati
politics
is. I don't know.
for a couple of decades now.
Gary, I don't
You've
think you know who
got into it with Donald Trump as a
he
candidate.
is the
You've
king of
also
the
written columns
Illuminati.
supporting his policies. Where do you feel? Do you feel like you're a man with
He's all men's rights. I don't know what his wife is
Well, I've
thinking.
gotten
He's
used to
terribly
it. So,
pro, you know,
look,
he's like
I mean, the
anti-choice.
party never really quit on him. He seemed weak after the 2022 midterms, and they denied. But I think he had a huge
week after the 2020 election too.
He's a weird
yeah,
dude.
I mean, he lost
His
to
wife
Joe
is
Biden.
weirder. I want to find out what her
narrowly.
fucking
And a key
story
thing
is.
was
He's
in
a
16 he
surgeon.
wins the independents, in 20 he loses the independents. But people think Republicans think he's the most electable this time around. They think he delivered on the promises that he said he was going to do in 16. They think he's stronger than anyone else. They think he has the right experience. Just everything. It's like every metric. And I can't remember the last time. When's the last time in a competitive Republican primary someone has won Iowa and New Hampshire, right? And maybe we'll see if he wins tonight and what the margin is tonight by a historic margin in Iowa, and it could still be double digits here in New Hampshire. So
voting for people that want,
he's not going to be stopped. He's the presumptive nominee, and most of the party is going to rally around to him. And
I don't know why
this is
people
what happens.
Someone becomes
a presumptive nominee, and everyone else endorses him.
They are going to.
That's a normal thing.
Rich, how do you think Republican voters who witnessed everything that happened after the 2020 election, how do they talk themselves into voting for former President Trump if they do believe that former President Trump tried to steal the election? He's accused in Georgia. He's accused, obviously, by the federal government as well. How do those Republican voters say, I'm going to give him another shot, even though he tried sort of?
Well, it's the opposite. Right? Most Republicans think that he was done dirty at some level in 2020.
By the mail-in voting, by whatever.
Even something
even though
worse.
It was legal. It was,
but the thing is, this would have been his foremost vulnerability, right? He lost to Joe Biden, right? But he lied it away, and most Republicans are willing to go along with it or actively believe it. And that's the other key thing. The two exogenous factors that hurt Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, besides how terrible DeSantis' campaign were, obviously the indictments, but then the electability argument went away because Trump's polling was so strong against Biden. You look at the 2020 polling. Trump never led against Biden. Never. He's never polled this strong in national polls ever. He wasn't polling this strongly against Hillary. So I think it's actually a sign of weakness that he's not higher against Biden because I think Biden is in such a weak state. But you can't really make that argument. You can't go out and Ron DeSantis say, I'm losing by 20 points in the polls right now to Trump, and he's beating Biden by more than I am, but I'm more electable. I think that's true, but the argument doesn't work.
Sarah, do you think Republicans, and I know we have polling on this, but when you talk to Republicans, do you think they don't believe that he tried to overturn the election, or do you think they don't care?
I think they believe his lies, that they believe that it was stolen from him. They view someone like Joe Biden as incredibly weak, and so they can't imagine a scenario in how Joe Biden would pull off a win against Donald Trump. But the thing is that I wish that those same Republicans who believe that were hearing now the guilty pleas that we've heard from some of the Trump co-conspirators in Georgia, where they acknowledge that they knew that Trump lost and that there was no evidence of fraud. Donald Trump has never been able to prove those claims. And so it is disappointing then that all these people have kind of had their minds poisoned by these lies. And in their eyes, they still think, though, that Donald Trump is more electable heading into 2024 because they believe that the 2020 election was stolen, which is just a little perplexing then why you would back the guy, because even if you believe that it was rigged, then why would you back the guy who already lost to Joe Biden once?
Jacob, so Ruff is at a polling location in Derry, New Hampshire, talking to voters. They're getting a sense of what's going on. Jacob, you spent a couple days now in New Hampshire. I know you've been covering the campaign for us as well. What are voters telling you they care about most? Are you hearing, is it just the economy, immigration? Do you hear the threat of democracy ever?
That would be, and let's not forget.
It's all of it. It's all of it. Yes, of course you do, Tom. I want to come back to that, but there's actually some important news that's sort of happening here as I'm talking to you from Derry, New Hampshire. This is Tina Guilford. She's the town clerk of Derry. You're actually the only full-time official in
she also makes a mini lemon bar.
Only full-time elected official in Derry.
Oh wait, she's from New Hampshire. So
you are on the verge of, and it's not happening for sure. And you seem to feel confident that it won't happen.
They're like Massachusetts.
You could run out of ballots. You have less than 1,000 ballots left, and almost 9,000 people have participated tonight. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes, it is. So
was part of that
we were running low, and so we
Tina,
called the Secretary of State.
I know you're trying.
They did not have anything extra for us, but we did have absentees that we did not use, and they were at Town Hall. So we went to Town Hall and we brought them in. So they are here in the building if we need them.
Abortion is the most
our
important
turnout
issue.
has kind of
Weird.
slowed up. So I don't know that we're going to need them, but we do have
New
them.
Hampshire, yeah.
You're not the only jurisdiction, town or city in New Hampshire
right
that's sort
there,
of faced with this issue.
I go up to
I've heard from
93
our colleague
through Salem.
Steve Kornacki that this is happening
Go out to
throughout the
Concord.
state at the moment, and the Secretary of State is able to get them
Go
and you
out to
correct
the
me again,
shops,
if this
go
isn't
to the
right,
outlets.
is able to get some
go to
ballots to some
Canada.
of the other jurisdictions.
That's
but
right.
That's not the case here. That's right.
I
Well,
love
so
them
they
outlets.
told
Them
us that
outlets
they
is
didn't
real
really think they
good.
had any print overruns, which is okay.
I
Like I
lived in
said, we
Maine for
have
7
the
years.
absentees, so we are all
I
set.
know this.
Okay,
I
so
know this
with those
place.
absentees, you feel
I
like
know
you'll be able to
Tina.
run out the rest of the clock here
I
with
love
about
Tina.
26 minutes to go and make sure everybody can come in and participate.
Well, we would make
You
sure
feel
everybody can come
water.
in and participate
water
that wants to
eyes.
participate. If we had to make
feel water
photocopies
eyes.
and I had to sign every single one and do all those things, we would do them.
She's good. She's
That's
got,
why
like,
we love our election
cosmopolitan.
workers. That is democracy in action. Tina, thank you very much.
Tina, you
Really
did
appreciate you.
great.
So
I want to say
you heard it here
you
from
did
Derry. It's also
fantastic for
happening
a
elsewhere
national
in the
interview with
state.
Steve
The turnout
Kornacki,
is
the
high.
king of the
They say it's
pants.
almost 9,000 here. That would be around 50% turnout for the biggest polling location, if not just in New Hampshire, in the entire country.
And they weren't
Which
ready?
way those voters go, ultimately,
I
we
get
won't
it.
know until the
get
polls close here. The results are tabulated
I don't really get
and
it.
announced. Tom?
Yeah, I'm seeing it from the reporting you were talking about, the Secretary of State saying there's at least 10 communities that have requested additional GOP ballots. There's no long waits that they're aware of, but I think these communities are trying to figure out how to get those people the ballots they need so they can vote. And we're seeing what they did there in Derry. Jacob, we appreciate you. You're watching our special coverage of the New Hampshire primary. Before we go to break, we're getting our first percentage of vote in, only 5%. A very close race. We look at 5% of the votes, actually 6% that just came in, 52% for Donald Trump, 47% there for Nikki Haley. Very close, but only about 6% in. We're going to have much more when we come back after this break. Stay with us.
Hold on, and we're not gonna go to another place. We're gonna not go to another place. Boop, 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 boop. We found many loose bolts on our Max 9s following the near oh, yes. Oh, many loose bolts. Oh, terrible. Hi, how are you? Better than a paper bag. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, better than a popcorn tub, right? Wait, George, I had popcorn still in that tub. What are you doing? Hey, look it's a fist up for oomph from the craziest Ivan. Yeah, Libs of TikTok. She's a real asshole. Chaya Rachik, who runs the inflammatory Libs of TikTok social media, was named as an advisor to something. Terrible. Yeah, the world is a crazy place. World is a crazy place. World. You know what he didn't say? He didn't say, Dumpy didn't say, oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, I guess I can't remember. Oh, here's a fist right back for you, Ivan. Ivan and Oomph. Ivan and Oomph. Ivan and Oomph. You two are funny. You're funny. You're funny. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I've got some stuff going on tomorrow, and I'm really excited about it. I can't talk about it, well, because I'm not sure what's going to happen with it. Did he say cognitive? Oh, no. I didn't watch his speech last night. I mean, I did, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I had it on, but I wasn't really watching it. But I understand that he had quite a bit of problems. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
All polls have closed just yet across New Hampshire.
Oh.
Right here, with 8% of the vote coming in, you can see it's a very, very close race. 51% for Donald Trump, about 48% for Nikki Haley. But as we mentioned, only 8% of those votes counted
like
so far. As soon as we can project a call, a winner in this race, we will let you know. But if it's a close race, it's going to take a little longer. Our Dasha Burns has been working in New Hampshire ever since she left Iowa on an overnight flight. She's got an update for us from Nashua. So Dasha, tell us what you're learning there and what you're hearing from voters.
Joined us. Welcome to the era of the petty.
All right, well, let me show you around here real quick, because Nashua is pretty reflective of the state. Back in 2016, the margins here were very similar to the statewide margin, so it is a bellwether. It is not hardcore MAGA country, and the polls here are closing in about 20 minutes or so. You see some folks getting their ballots here. This is the last few minutes of this polling location being open. Now, I want to show you over here. We've been watching people come to this table, which is the new voters
voter registration table. And Grace has been registering some
You know,
voters
they were
here. Hey,
supposed
Grace,
to
good
have
to
a
see you.
game in here
Tell us
tonight,
how
but
many,
we had to move
about
out
how
for the
many, I know you guys are going to
election.
get an exact count soon, but about how many new voters did you get today?
We definitely have more than
The
100.
girls are trying to play
More
some
than 100 new
volleyball.
voters.
You
And
better
then
move
Abby,
out
can
of
I
here
just grab
by
that
8
sheet of
o'clock.
paper from
They
you?
gotta
My
get the
producer,
practice
Abby, we've
in
got a
before the
count right
state
now.
finals.
There are 7,000, just under 7,000 registered voters in this area. And Kathy here has been helping us keep track of how many ballots have been turned in. So Kathy, what's the latest number? 3,263. Thank you, Kathy.
Drop in mail.
What?
Ballots.
Oh, mail-in ballots.
Oh.
Of course. So you can't forget the mail-in ballots. So mail-in ballots and in-person ballots. So more than 50% or so turnout at this point, or about 50%. And then out here we have a table
Wait,
that
it was only
just
like
reminds you how
16,
distinct New Hampshire is.
15%
This
in
is the
Iowa.
undeclared voter re-registration table, Tom. This is where undeclared voters come and re-register as undeclared, because when they come in here, they can choose a Democratic or a Republican ballot. And then on their way out, if they want to go back to being undeclared, they can go ahead and do so. Now, this is the kind of area that Nikki Haley really needs to rack up her margins, because in 2016, a lot of folks here went for more moderate candidates, the Kasichs, the Bushes, right? So this is an area where she really has an opportunity. At the same time, we've also been meeting a lot of undeclared voters and Democrats who have been writing in Joe Biden, because that is the other factor that we're dealing with here in New Hampshire that we weren't dealing with in Iowa, right? You've got Trump and Nikki Haley, but also the Democrats have been pushing a writing campaign for Biden, because he's not officially on the ballot, but they do want to show support. They want to show that New Hampshire is playing in all of this. So we're seeing all of these dynamics at play as we've been talking to voters and watching the process unfold here, Tom.
Dasha Burns, we appreciate you and all your reporting. I want to get back over to Chuck Todd over at the big board, because we're getting some new exit poll data when it comes to the major election issue of abortion. Talk to us about what New Hampshire voters are telling our people.
And remember, this is a Republican primary, a Republican electorate, but we've told you that the New Hampshire Republican electorate is not like most Republican electorates. And look at this, a federal law that would ban abortions nationwide. 67% of this electorate opposes that, just 27%. Remember, Governor Chris Sununu is a Republican governor, and he's considered pro-choice or pro-abortion rights. But let me compare this just to show you the difference between the New Hampshire and Iowa electorate. Same question we asked in Iowa. 61% of the Iowa Republicans favored a ban. 27, so you see again a huge difference.
But tougher to draw on who this helps, right? Because
Why
Trump
are
has
you
been out
moving
there.
so much?
Well, that's the I was just going to say, Trump and Haley have both sort of tried really hard to make you think they agree with you on abortion. Whatever your position is, they're both kind of elusive on it. Obviously, Trump, because he appointed the Supreme Court justices, can't fully get away from some of these abortion questions. Haley,
Fabulous.
Haley's been sounding more pro-abortion rights than I've ever heard her before previously than this campaign. Some of it may just simply be in response to Dobbs. And as she's pointed out, her home state has gone really radical on this.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm putting most of them on the screen.
All sorts of things. So, but again, this goes back to why was New
Thanks for
Hampshire
being
such
in
a
the
favorable
Twitter.
place
I
to
sure
potentially
appreciate
knock
it.
off Donald Trump? It's because this is an electorate that is unlike any other. But let's remember, New Hampshire's a swing state. These numbers tonight tell me Donald Trump can't carry New Hampshire. Hard stop.
All right, we're gonna have to wait and see as all the votes come in. I want to talk to somebody who knows New Hampshire very well, New Hampshire politics. James Pindell, he's a political reporter with the Boston Globe. James, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Talk to me about what stood out to you so far as we're getting the exit polling data in. We're projecting a record turnout in New Hampshire as well.
Yeah, first of all, these are impressive.
There's a lot of
voting
Democrats in
numbers
New
from
Hampshire.
New Hampshire voters, but I will say New
There's a
Hampshire
lot of
actually
fucking
does turn out.
Democrats in
So
those
in
big
some of these
cities.
communities,
There's a
particularly
lot of
where Nikki
Democrats.
Haley needs to do well.
Oh,
I'm
no
thinking of
problem.
Portsmouth, for example, and Concord, for example. They're in line with where we were in, say, 2016 for the Republican vote. Now, granted, obviously, there are fewer candidates, fewer staff to try to drive out that vote. There's been lower enthusiasm, but this whole thing is going to hinge on two counties. Rockingham County, which is, I just mentioned, is Portsmouth, and along the Massachusetts border, and Hillsborough County, which is where I'm at here in Manchester. And we've seen some reporters out in Milford, and obviously where Dasha's at in Nashua. They make up 55% of the Republican primary base. If you want to include Concord or Merrimack County, that's now 2/3. So the southern tier, the Boston suburbs, the Boston media market, that is where this base is going to, that's where this race will be decided. And I'll say one more thing. If you look at some of these margins where Nikki Haley needs to do especially well, she is winning. She is probably not winning by the type of margins she will need to sustain.
I wonder what the mail-in vote would be if it was predominantly
Donald Trump is racking it up. And for that, I'm thinking of Laconia, where he's crushing it.
I don't get the
or on
sense
the western
that
side
voters
in
really
Claremont,
prefer
where he's
mail.
winning.
I feel like they don't do that.
He's getting 60 to
Like, they have
70% of the
built
vote.
such a distrust.
That's going to make it really challenging, I
They
think, for
will
Nikki
never
Haley
do
to
it.
come out of this. But it's these last votes, the ones that come, the ones that finish at 8 o'clock. That's going to be Nikki Haley territory. So we won't really know exactly where she stands until later in the night.
Today and
Do we
Friday,
know where the turnout
I'm making butter
is sort of
on screen
higher than normal yet in the state? Which
so
regions?
excited.
We're not
I'm
sure.
gonna start making my own butter. I'm gonna start making.
Yeah, we do. I mentioned 2 counties.
I mean,
One in particular
you know
is
what I mean.
all that I'm obsessed with whenever there's a Republican
make my own
primary,
bread.
whether it's
I'm
for
gonna make my own
state
butter.
senate, governor, obviously president, and that's Rockingham County. This is, it does tend to have a mix of people in the trades, some blue collar, but a lot of it is bedroom communities for Boston that are white collar and are college educated. They're disproportionately the group of those 10 communities that
I know.
did
I'm
seek,
really excited about it.
more
I'm
ballots.
really excited.
They're the ones that we've seen anecdotally
so
more
windy.
turnout. I know
What a
NBC
beautiful
News or MSNBC had a live cam in Londonderry. Donald Trump visited there.
Oh, yeah,
That's a
be there
community
for the
I'm
churning.
especially watching along with Gary,
Please.
where I know we just
You're
were
not
a
gonna
few
wanna
minutes
miss
ago.
it.
Those votes come in very late. They tend to
You're gonna
have
wanna watch me
almost
churn
voting
butter,
problems
babes.
in the
That's for
past
sure.
because of high voter turnout
I am
in
gonna have
one
a very fit
voting
body.
location in each of those communities.
Watch
And if it's really high,
It's
that's going to be
manual.
really good for Nikki Haley in those communities.
Manual.
I don't think we've spent enough time talking about
all
Governor
Lolo.
Sununu here and
I'm
sort of his
excited. I'm so
impact on
excited.
this race.
I'm gonna unbox
We
it,
talk about
too.
how
I'm
independent New
gonna
Hampshire
unbox
voters are. They don't
the
care
fucking
how
churn
Iowa voted. They want their
and
own
churn
vote. Do they care what their
butter
governor
right
wants and who
fucking
he
there.
likes?
As the
You know,
world
at the Boston Globe,
moves.
we pulled that specific question, and only
Maybe
a
I'll even
third
try
of
and make can of
Republican
butter, but I
voters
don't
said
think so
they
because
would
I'm not
even
very good at that
consider what he
stuff.
said. Now,
You
that
guys
was
are much
in the
better at
fall.
that than I am.
Here's the close. 2 things you need to know. Number one, despite the fact that he is the son
Although
of
I
a
would like to
governor
put
and
on-
a former White House chief of staff and a brother of a former congressman
We have
and
this
U.S.
conversation
senator,
every time
the
about
dirty little secret is that Chris Sununu
There's
doesn't really
secret.
have much of a political organization in the state, doesn't even really control the state Republican Party. However, there's no question that in the last 2 weeks, in the last week in particular, he has been an integral part in creating some
I'm live.
excitement about her campaign, probably even more than the candidate herself, who closes her last rally last night. Her closing rally was only 34 minutes of a talk and no questions, but he has been clearly been trying to go out there and convince people that this is actually something to care about and to vote against Trump. Now, Tom, I would spend about 2 hours at polling places around New Hampshire, particularly in Rockingham County, because you know I'm obsessed. And there are 3 categories of people, and they're in this order. 1, love Trump. 2nd, don't like Trump, or like I'm over Trump, or he's too old.
He's
And then 3rd,
fucking criminal.
like,
How about
I
that?
like Nikki Haley, or she's a woman, and I'm a woman, and I'm sort of into that. Those are the sort of the 3 buckets. And on that second bucket, there's no question that Chris Sununu helped drive that turnout today.
All right, James Findell, we appreciate it. If you want to get that Rockingham tattoo, I'm going to pay for it. You clearly love that county. I know you're watching it. We may check back with you. We thank you for joining our coverage at this moment. I do want to go to Garrett Hake, who's at the Trump watch party right now. Garrett, I guess my first question to you has to be about the reaction we're seeing from former President Trump. We've been sort of surmising here that he's possibly watching the returns coming in, watching some of the coverage. His first sort of, election night tweet seemed kind of upset that independents were allowed, undeclareds were allowed to vote in this election.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, it's always interesting to see the Trump campaign and their operations kind of public stance and what the candidate himself is really thinking, which he almost always shares with us very directly on social media. That's certainly true tonight, where the campaign has been so boastful, really, today of how well they thought they were going to do here, how they thought they could close this race out, even everything about the room behind me, the size and scope of the party they're throwing tonight, with an open bar and everybody from the Trump lawyer Alina Habba to George Santos.
Rudy's there. Let me tell you why Rudy is there, okay, guys?
Tonight. But the former president's
Let me tell you why Rudy is there.
complaining, as he did earlier today, about the way that
Okay. The reason Rudy is there is his girlfriend, Dr. Maria, who's a terrible person, who's on his show almost every night. Dr. Maria lives in New Hampshire, so that is why Rudy is in New Hampshire, because he spends a lot of fucking time there. Oh, you know what an open bar means up there in New Hampshire too, right? I'm going to tell you right now.
Donald Trump does
What
not
do they
see it
drink
that
up there?
way,
I can't
and is
remember.
clearly frustrated with the idea that
Probably
independents
like a
and Democrats might be, if not
Sam
ruining, at least
Adams.
changing
Yeah,
the
you
character of the
you got one of
celebration they
them
are
fancy
hoping to
Sam
have.
Adams back
For the
there.
senior leadership of the
I'll
Trump
take one of
campaign
them
team, I can
Sam
tell you,
Adams.
kind of
That's a
the
fancy
old,
beer.
axiom of campaign nights is the people
That's
who
a
are
real
talking don't
that's a
know.
right
The
fancy
people who
beer you
know
got there. I'll
aren't
take
talking.
two of them
The sort of
Sam
Peter
Adamses.
Cloyster of the Trump campaign team is going to be
Yeah,
watching these
thanks
numbers
very
very
much.
closely. But their guy, their
I
candidate,
love New
always sort of
Hampshire.
tips his
I'm
hand
telling
a
you
little
right
bit about
now.
how he
It's one of
feels
the most beautiful
watching the
states.
results come in.
First of all,
and two
the
very
rolling
different
green hills
sort
in
of
New
campaign
Hampshire are
managers
among the
and
most
people leading this
beautiful,
campaign
and the
than
mountains
Trump
and shit.
campaigns of the past. I
Beautiful.
do want to go back to something you said. George
There are a
Santos
ton of
is
criminals in New
at the
Hampshire,
watch party
and
there.
I know
How's he
from
being
personal
received?
experience, and I'm
I
not
saw
going to talk
myself,
about
Tom,
it.
taking
I wasn't
pictures
one of
at
them.
the
I just
bar
happen
with
to know
a
them.
lot of
It's a
fans. I mean,
Massachusetts
he
beer, but
is
they
in
drink
his
it in
own
New
way
England.
a very much a
They
MAGA
drink it in New
celebrity and a
England.
creature of this moment. I haven't had a chance to talk
I'll
to
have
him
a bottle
myself
of
yet, but
scotch,
the
please.
selfie line was
I'll just
long
take that
around
bottle of
the
scotch
former
over there
congressman
in a paper
at the
cup.
bar just a
Thanks
few minutes
very
ago.
much.
Garrett Haig for us at the Trump
A lot
watch
of
party for
drinking
tonight. We're going to
happening
check
in
back with you,
New
I'm sure,
Hampshire
very
right
soon.
now.
We've
Yeah.
been talking about election
Yep.
alerts. We now have a khaki alert. That means Steve Kornacki is going to show us where
Kornacki
Nikki
alert.
Haley has to go to find the votes. Steve, great to have you tonight. Tell us
Oh
where
my gosh,
she
I
needs
have a
to
little
go.
sleeping kitty right next to me.
So right here, I think what jumps out is this. The 6% in this Republican primary right now call themselves liberal and 31%
New
call
Hampshire is
themselves
weird.
moderate. That is a combined total
All right,
of
babes.
37%
That's
saying
science
moderate
and
or liberal. In 2016, last competitive Republican primary in New Hampshire, that total
We're all
number
required to
was
have sleeping bags.
29%.
I love that.
So this is 8
I
percentage
love
points
it.
higher. Again, if you're
Really
having
nice.
far more non-Republicans participate,
I love
it
it.
might
I love
follow
New
that
England. I love New England.
the ideology would move a little
My
bit
daughter went
away
to
from the
school. I mean, like,
conservative
I love
side. That's what you're seeing. Again,
She
key
went to
question.
elementary
Is this a
school.
red herring, or are the numbers going to remain like this? Other things we can show you here. We talked so much in Iowa last week about the
Still
role of
meaningless.
evangelical Christians.
Still
They were an
meaningless.
outright majority of the caucus
Doesn't
electorate,
matter. I'm sorry.
55%, and they went
Primaries, etc.,
overwhelmingly for
are
Donald
fine
Trump.
for
They were the
narrowing down.
backbone of his Iowa landslide
You know?
last week. What share in New Hampshire identify as born-again Christians and
That's it.
evangelicals? In this first
Oh,
wave, it is
Jerry, I like easily
19%.
distracted in the outer world.
Again, that is far lower than Iowa. We knew it would be far lower than Iowa,
Easily
but
distracted
also
usually
New
gives me
Hampshire is
some of
one of
my
the most
funniest
secular
moments
Republican electorates you're going
where
to
I'll
find.
be
But
beated.
8 years ago, it was 25%.
Oh, hi, easily
So it's down even from that. I keep saying this, broken record, but it's important in
You're an
the first wave.
amazing
Other key
comic
findings I
partner.
think we can show you here. I want to show one more from the second page, and that is, we asked this question in Iowa, and we asked it again tonight. Do you consider yourself part of the MAGA movement? And the answer here in this Republican primary in the first wave is 64% say, basically 2/3 say they do not consider themselves that, consider themselves part of the Iowa, of the
no sales
Iowa,
tax,
of the
no,
MAGA movement. And I'm just searching to make sure I get the right
tax?
number here. In Iowa, last week,
Do they have
the
state
number of
income tax?
no's was 50.
I don't remember.
So it's jumped up double digits
so.
here in this first wave. Steve Kornacki for us. He can't stop. He's still going. Steve, we got to go. We thank you for that. I want to bring in back the panel now. So, Rich, I want to ask you.
I'm going to say,
a lot of sort of Republicans.
Snickers
We've heard
is
about
making a better
some of the people assembling
showing than I thought
around the Trump
I'm
watch
hungry.
party. People like George Santos. There's sort of these MAGA celebrities within the Republican Party. How are they viewed by all Republicans? I mean, why is someone like disgraced former Congressman George Santos, why is he embraced by that community?
Because he's famous, and it's like be famous for anything.
Political celebrity is huge
Yeah,
to Republicans.
and look, this is one thing that I think is a very bad trend in our politics generally. It's used to come to Washington generally just to try to legislate because you're interested in the substance. Now you can come and be on social media and do cable hits and be a celebrity without really doing any work or really be interested in doing the work or reaching out the other side or whatever it is. So that I think that's a broad trend in our politics, a very unhealthy one.
Hogan, explain this to me. Why does former President Trump
want people like disgraced Congressman George Santos, as we see here on our screen, talking to our Garrett Hake? Why does he want him at that point?
Well, a couple of things. I know Garrett was lamenting the fact that the selfie line was long. I'm sure if Garrett waits around, he'll be happy to get a picture with George Santos. I'm not sure that Trump wants him there or thinks he's great in any form or fashion. I've not talked to him about it. This is one of those things I think Rich is hitting on, which so many people in politics now are deemed celebrities, regardless of their ability to do anything, regardless of whether or not they've been run out of office or not. So that's a weird bedfellow there, if you ask me. I wouldn't be too keen on going to take a picture with Santos. I'm not going to get a photo with Santos, but whatever.
Terry, your thoughts as we see some of the votes coming in. We still got about 5 minutes left before the polls close at 8 o'clock Eastern in New Hampshire. We have about 12% of the vote in, 52% for Trump, about 47% for Nikki Haley. A lot closer right now, at least, than the polls had it right before the voting started.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about the George Santos thing.
Everyone wants to say something about George Santos.
You know why, though? Because I think it's a sad commentary that someone like George Santos was even allowed in the door.
Right.
Donald Trump is a criminal defendant with 91 counts against him. George Santos is also a criminal defendant with counts against him. He was just thrown out of Congress in disgrace. And yet here he is in the Trump show, fully embraced. That does not help the image in the general election. There are a lot of people in this country who look at that and say, yeah, the fact that these people hang out together tells you a little bit about the type of integrity and character of this type of personality cult that's going on in the GOP. So that doesn't help Donald Trump when it comes to a general election. It's pretty disgraceful. But I just want to finish my thought also now about New Hampshire. Donald Trump putting out that message on X earlier on Truth Social tells me he's nervous. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but when you feel confident in your position, there's no need to attack the process. How do I know that? Because I spent 27 years in the Republican Party, and we used to make fun of Democrats who would go after process complaints. So it's clear that he's not going to get the blowout win that he thought he was going to get. So now he's going to complain about the process to try to blunt the expectation game here in case it's not a 20 or 30-point blowout like it was in Iowa. And God forbid it's single digits, or what if she wins? So that's what that's about. Clearly, he's nervous about
And you know who won independence in New Hampshire on the Republican side in 2016? Donald Trump. He had 36% among Republicans, 36% among independents.
Well, because there was a plurality of the vote, though. It wasn't just two candidates. Like
Tom, this is the great strategic insight I want to share with you. This is why I'm here. I hope this blows you away. But I think, if it's like a 5 or 6 point margin, who knows? But if it is, Nikki Haley will actually have been hurt by the consolidation after Christie leaving. Christie leaving was good for her, but if DeSantis and Vivek were still in there holding,
they would have fractured the Trump vote.
of voters, she might have been able to go over the top.
I got Chuck over here signaling. I'm going to run right over to Chuck Todd over there in the big board.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, as you know, we're going to be able to characterize the race. We've been able to update our exits with the real data, so we've reweighted it a little bit. There's small shifts, but they're important shifts. And here's the biggest one. If you recall,
Sam says hi.
Earlier in the evening, the first 2 waves had the Republican number at 47%, right? And the combined independent Democratic number was sitting at 53%. So now what are we staring at here, right? It's a 4-point swing, but that is a huge swing. That is the difference between a coin flip and 5 to 10 points or things like that. So we've seen there clearly was a slight overstatement, and this is why the exit polls, you want to see them after we've been able to see sample precincts. We're able to weight it to real-time data, and you get a better sense. So it's a slight shift, but it's an important shift that I think signals directionally that this is
back on the Kissinger
Donald, that this is looking like an electorate that's a little more favorable to Donald Trump.
I mean,
Chuck,
just
just
walk our through this, because not enough Republicans on that side will have picked Nikki Haley in that assumption.
Well, that's been the problem. He's been, to go back, we've had this phenomenon before, right? John McCain, everybody talked John McCain when he beat George W. Bush. John McCain won Republican voters too in New Hampshire. He didn't win a majority, but he won a plurality. This is not what's happening here. We're going to show you the breakdowns as soon as polls close. But it's basically a totally big split where Trump is beating her badly among Republicans and Haley's beating him badly among independents. So that's not the formula she needs to pull this off.
That independent number, though, Chuck, before, because we're coming up on 8 o'clock and we'll have a big announcement at 8. But that independent number Could have that been even higher, or that's
Look,
we're already pretty high?
I believe it could. Look, sure. I mean, this is pretty high already. Okay, but I look at this. I've been going to New Hampshire since '96, covering them since '92. A lot of New Hampshire voters were disappointed that there wasn't one more debate. The final weekend is a huge, decisive weekend, you know, and so I can't help but wonder, had Nikki Haley gotten that command performance on the state's only television affiliate, WMUR, the only one that broadcast to all of New Hampshire,
minutes ago,
she walked away from that, right?
Really
And,
well,
you know,
despite
again,
all of
she
the
didn't want to
Biden
debate
votes
Ron
going for
DeSantis anymore.
Haley.
She wanted Trump there. I get it.
So
But I just wonder, she missed some important markers in the final week
especially
that,
since Joe Biden
you know, could it have been a difference, right? If she comes up short, she's going to second guess a whole bunch of stuff about her schedule, I think.
Yeah, and the ironic part is that if there was even another debate sanctioned, she wouldn't have been able to debate anyone because Trump would have never shown up. DeSantis ends up dropping out of the race. It would have been her on the stage, but I guess she could have done a town hall or something like that.
Yeah.
We are coming to the top of the hour right now. Polls are closing, and we're standing by for our first characterization for this race.
Having Chuck Todd do this is a huge disappointment, but it is just one in a series of. I like Portsmouth. Portsmouth is a beautiful city. If you haven't been to Portsmouth, New Hampshire,
we are literally 1 second, and there it is. It is 8 o'clock on the dot. The polls have just closed there in New Hampshire. We are coming to you with an NBC News election alert at this hour. All right, this is important. The NBC News decision desk is projecting that the race is still too early to call, but that former President Trump leads. You can see those vote totals as they continue to climb. Right now, we're at 12% of the vote in right now. Former President Trump, you see it on your screen, 52% of the vote. Nikki Haley with 47% of the vote at this hour. But again, it is still very, very early. Only 12% of the vote in. As we just mentioned, the NBC News election desk, the decision desk is still waiting on making a call right now, a projection. All we can say is that Trump is leading, but it's still too early. We're still going to wait for some more votes to come in, some more data to come in. Nikki Haley still looking to pull off a major upset tonight as she faces a make-or-break moment in her campaign. The crowds we saw turning up to vote a little earlier. We have another election alert coming in right now. They're coming in fast and furious. This is actually a very interesting one. Maybe not surprising, but definitely interesting. NBC News can now project that Joe Biden has won the Democratic primary. Why is this interesting? Well, he didn't compete in the Democratic primary. This is largely from a write-in campaign. Dean Phillips, a Democrat who's trying to challenge Joe Biden on the Democratic side, did campaign in that state. He has lost. NBC News can project that the current president is the winner of the New Hampshire primary. The sort of question here is, will this matter at all in New Hampshire? Because the delegates will not be awarded. South Carolina is going to be the first in the nation primary. Let's go over to Chuck Todd right now to kind of walk us through sort of the interesting conundrum, if you will, the Democrats find themselves in with Joe Biden winning, but no delegates going to be awarded.
Well, right, no delegates are awarded, and we can show you here, and it is worth noting.
Wait, what?
We don't know that every single write-in is a Joe Biden write-in. Okay, there was a campaign to write in ceasefire by some Gaza activists. It was legitimate enough that I saw yard signs there myself. So whether this is the full, but you know, assumed 5%. Is pulled from that. So the fact of the matter is, this is successful. Look, Dean Phillips not even getting into the 20s, I think is a tough thing. I've talked to his campaign. You know, they'd like to find a place where they actually get to be on the ballot with Joe Biden to see if there's, you know, if there really is a movement here. And the one early state they're looking at after this that they may try to spend money in is Michigan. South Carolina is not a state that you're going to be able to defeat Joe Biden in, but Michigan is certainly.
And let's talk about South Carolina, right? They put Joe Biden over the top a few years ago. And he said, listen, this is more reflective of the Democratic Party. Let's make South Carolina first. New Hampshire voters said it's our law.
Let's remember, Biden did. Biden did so well. Can you find his name on the 2020 results, right? You got to keep going.
Was he first?
Fifth. He was fourth. He was fourth in New Hampshire and fifth in Iowa. Look, it's a warning that Chris Sununu has got to worry about with the New Hampshire Republican primary. Because those who are nominees, especially if they become president, they decide what the primary calendar is based on their own personal experiences. And if New Hampshire ends up being the state.
So those 10 delegates, what happens? They go to the convention, what happens?
Well, they'll be seated. They always say they're not going to seat them. But I'll tell you this, we saw this in 2008. There was Florida and Michigan had this whole thing. Whoever the nominee is, because you know why they're going to seat them? Because New Hampshire's a swing state. Right. Okay. If New Hampshire wasn't a swing state, this was Idaho, not a big Democratic state. They might tell them to pound sand. they're not going to tell the New Hampshire electorate to pound sand.
Let's talk about the Republican side, what we have in 13%. It's growing almost by the minute. Tell me, is there anything we can draw from what we have so far?
Yeah, I'm going to take you to one area, and this is in Rochester, New Hampshire. This has been this is a growing part of the state. It's a growing place. This was some place that she needed to narrow this a little bit. Let me just show you over the last couple of cycles. You can see, I mean, first of all, it's a growing vote. I mean, there already is going to be more vote that's ever turned out in Rochester before. And Trump's doing better. He's already got more raw vote.
Okay, I'm going to be right back.
Than they got the entire time last time. And as you can see, this was not as friendly to the moderate candidates as you will. But this is why we're saying he's leading, because she is doing well in the Democratic counties, in the swing counties. So you look at Concord, and she's winning, but she's not winning by the same margin, right? The counties, the townships she's winning are not. This was one she really needed to run up the score, as you can see, and that's the difference here.
Manchester, I know, just closed. Do we have anything from Manchester?
We have a little bit coming out of Manchester. I can show you here,
wow,
about half the vote.
Somewhat interesting.
But just to let you again, so you can see here, Manchester, a little more working class. It really is.
Manchester
more of a
is
Trump.
actually,
It would be
I would think it's more
upset
Democratic.
if Haley was able to carry Manchester.
Pretty,
but again, Trump's winning by bigger margins in his areas than Haley is in her areas.
I had a friend who lived in Manchester.
We always appreciate that. Hallie Jackson has been out and about for us in the Granite State. First, she was at a polling location. She's made her way to a watch party tonight. Hallie, talk to me about. Oh, wait, it looks like it's. Is that a saloon? A bar?
It's a bar.
What
sure
is. What are you hearing from? What are you hearing from everyone there enjoying a nice beverage, if you will, and some politics to go as well?
That's the thing.
All right,
yeah, coming out to see and get a sense of like how their neighbors, how their colleagues, how their community members voted here in this big deal First in the Nation primary. It is kind of a watch party, I would tell you. There's a lot of Fox News on the TVs up here. People are tuning in to see those returns coming in, including people here like Pat, who is bellied up to the bar here. Pat, thank you for chatting with us. Sure thing. How did it go for you today voting? Tell us who you voted for and why.
I actually voted Trump because I like his policies, not necessarily the man. He's a little boastful and sometimes he can be divisive, but overall his policies worked. And I don't think Biden's are, honestly.
Did you ever consider or evaluate potentially any other candidates? Did you consider perhaps backing Nikki Haley, or were you always for former President Trump?
I actually like her too. I think people are familiar with his policies, so they might lean towards him more. But you never know. I mean, it's early voting. She could win in our state and keep going. You know, you just never know. But I think maybe she could run again, maybe down the road. I think she still has a good chance, but it might not be her time yet, you know.
Why did you come out here tonight? Was this about watching the returns come in, being with others?
Actually, I like Fox News and I like Pete Hegseth, and he's here. So I saw that he was going to be here. So I'm like, maybe we can see him.
Pat, thank you so much for talking with us. We appreciate it. Obviously, a lot of folks out here tonight for a lot of different reasons, Tom. I want to bring you back here to some other folks that we're talking to as well, because one thing that we've seen throughout the course of the evening as the polls have started to close, so much interest here, right? I mean, I've heard you and Chuck talking about it, some of the folks that you have there talking about the engagement here of New Hampshire voters. That's what we're seeing as people want to know, what are the results, Tom?
Hallie Jackson first. Hallie, we appreciate you. This is our big live remote board. Right here, they're reading out results in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That's a city we want to watch. Let's listen in.
510. Asa Hutchinson, 0. Peter Jeddick, 0. Perry Johnson, 0. Donald Kojernis, 0. Mary Maxwell, 2. Glenn Peters, 0. S. Peterson Morell, 0. Darius Mitchell, 0. Mike Pence, 0.
Mike Pence?
Vivek Ramaswamy, 2.
All right, we were just listening to the vote count in Portsmouth, but it sounds like we might have missed the two top contenders at the top. It's all right. It's a live event. Those things are happening. Speaking of live events, we have some breaking news. And Mike Memley just spoke with the Biden new campaign manager of the re-elect team. Mike, what's the new reporting you have for us?
Yeah, Tom, I just spoke exclusively with Julie Chavez
No one's
Rodriguez. She
talking about
is and
anything
has
weird.
been
the Biden campaign manager. But one of the big stories tonight, of course, is the fact that there is some movement within the Biden senior leadership. We have Jen O'Malley Dillon, who is the deputy chief of staff at the White House, was Biden's campaign manager in 2020, will be moving to Delaware to take a senior role in the campaign, as will Mike Donnellan. He's the chief strategist for President Biden, has been for a long time. This is being described as a shakeup, and it is a significant move that the campaign is describing as an acceleration of what was already planned. And so as I spoke with Julie Chavez Rodriguez, I asked her what this means for her, what this means for the campaign. She said, listen, O'Malley Dillon and Donnellan, they are familiar names to the campaign. They are familiar names to me. That this is an all hands on deck approach now as we head into this new phase of the general election campaign. I asked her about the relationship she has with President Biden. Of course, she is the campaign manager. She briefs him at least weekly. And she said that that relationship will continue, that she's excited, that there's a great energy around the campaign, especially after what we saw tonight, which was a rally with President Biden, with Vice President Harris in Virginia, as meant to sort of set up this next phase of the campaign. And so these comments, I think, speak to what the Biden campaign is trying to characterize as sort of a full-time now, all-hands-on-deck approach to the campaign, and not necessarily a shakeup.
Mike Memoli for us tonight. Mike, we appreciate all that new reporting. If you have any other updates from the Biden campaign, let us know. All right, it's 8:09 on the East Coast. New Hampshire, we are watching. Still too early to call by NBC News standards. 15% of the voting. But here's the way it is happening. Donald Trump's lead keeps getting bigger and bigger as more vote comes in. Chuck Todd's at the big board tonight for us. Chuck, something that you pointed out to me as we get more of this vote in and more of the exit poll data in, something really interesting that actually works in former President Trump's favor.
Well, look, we now can show you the Trump-Haley splits by party. So as we told you, our reweighting of the exit poll, basically 49% of Republicans. Among those that are Republican that voted in this primary, look at this number that Trump got. He got 74% of self-identified Republicans. Haley, 25%. As you know the math, she needed over 30 now.
But that's not bad. That's not bad, but something bad did happen, right? And you're going to show us now.
It's not bad until you see this number, which here's Haley among independents. She won the independents, but as you saw here, Trump got 75% of GOPers. Haley's getting 61 there. Haley got 25% of GOPers. Trump got 37 there. So there are more Republicans than independents.
I think I know.
And Trump did better with independents than she did with Republicans. It's basic algebra, right? We're not even, it's a little bit more than regular addition and subtraction, but you see why.
No, I don't. You're going to have to actually make it a little more.
Chuck, I got to interrupt you because we have a key election alert. We just got this election alert from our decision desk. Stand by for breaking news. I think we have a call in New Hampshire.
Well, I mean, there's only one.
And there it is. NBC News can project that former President Trump has now won the New Hampshire primary, defeating UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Garrett Haake is at the watch party for former President Trump in New Hampshire.
Is she going to
former president, now 2 for 2. Nikki Haley saying this was not going to be a coronation, that she was going to stay in the race, but it's clear when it comes to Iowa voters, New Hampshire voters, the king right now is former President Trump. What are you hearing there in the Trump watch party, the victory party now, Garrett?
Garrett, are you okay?
Yeah, Tom, just a minute ago, the Trump campaign changed these digital billboards behind us to say Trump wins New Hampshire. And a huge cheer went up from this party that had sort of all the makings of a victory party. But now we started to get a little rowdy. Now, make no mistake, this was the expected result for the Trump campaign. They thought they would romp in New Hampshire, and we'll find out what the final margin is.
Yeah, they
but
really
a victory in both Iowa and New Hampshire has usually been a golden ticket to the presidential nomination. And what you're seeing now is the Trump campaign already starting to pivot towards a general election. All of their messaging, including just moments ago, a statement from the Super PAC supporting Donald Trump, is arguing that every day more from this moment on that this primary continues is a day that Joe Biden gets an advantage he shouldn't have, and that the Republican Party needs to coalesce around Donald Trump. I expect to hear very much that same message from the candidate when he takes the stage here later tonight. And we're hearing from an army of surrogates who are really trying to close the door on this primary after just these 2 states voting. But again, another victory for Donald Trump in New Hampshire. It was the first state he won in 2016. Won launched him eventually towards the nomination in that year. The Trump campaign in 2024 is very much hoping this campaign now follows a similar trajectory.
Garrett, as we have a split screen here, we're looking at the Nikki Haley watch party as well in New Hampshire.
No,
Obviously,
more
the feeling
MAGA.
there,
You guys see my
not as excited, a bit
amazing,
dour, if you will,
darling
if we can just
Nikki?
judge from what we're seeing, the
Hello?
body
Oh,
language,
sorry.
a
Yeah,
lot of people on their phones. Garrett, was there ever a moment tonight where it seemed like Team Trump was nervous, or did they think they had this the whole time?
Fight. I want to see him bring
Team Trump, no, Tom. I mean, the professionals in this campaign, the folks who run it, have done this kind of thing before. They were very confident in their numbers. They were very confident that ultimately core Republican voters were going to come home from their candidate. But the candidate himself, Donald Trump, as he always does, expresses himself on social media, made very clear that he was frustrated with the numbers he was clearly seeing earlier in this evening, talking about the number of Democrats, the number of independent or unaffiliated voters participating in this process. He won New Hampshire by 20 points in 2016. And I think less so the Trump campaign, but more so the Trump candidate expected to see a similar margin in this state.
I want to see Alina
I don't know that
Hobbit.
that's
I
going to
want
end up
to
being
see.
the case
I
here.
want to see
And so that
kitten
frustration
fight
about the margin was
between,
palpable. That
let's see,
frustration at Chris Sununu, the New Hampshire governor, has been
between,
palpable throughout the week.
Alina
But the Trump
and,
campaign, I think, never really sweated that this would be a win here. Just sort of how much of a rhetorical advantage would they get towards their argument that the primary needs
really
to
wrong.
end
No,
now?
they're not. Oh,
was
wow,
sort of
look
the
at
one
that.
big question that
Look at
they
those
faced
kids.
over the last
Look at
36
those.
hours
Oh,
or so.
yeah.
Garrett, thank you if you're just joining our coverage. Former President Trump, the projected winner by NBC News of the New Hampshire primary. As soon as we get some reporting on when former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley or former President Trump will take the stage to speak in New Hampshire, we're going to bring that information to you live. We also have a team of reporters at the Haley event. As soon as we have new reporting, we're going to bring that to you. I want to bring in our panel back here for more. Hogan, I'm going to start with you. Do the margins matter tonight?
It was only
No,
53%.
I don't think they do. Donald Trump will now be 2-0. Nikki Haley is 0-2. He will win Nevada because she's not on the ballot there. It's a caucus. And then he's ahead big in South Carolina as well. And as I said before, I don't see a world in which Nikki Haley decides to keep going and lose her home state by 35, 40 points, which is what she's on track to do right now. Yes, had it been 1%, really, really close, maybe we could be having that
South
conversation.
Carolina,
But this is a decisive win for
MAGA.
someone in Donald Trump.
We were talking
where a
about you
GOP
earlier,
candidate has
Supreet,
never
I was
won
talking
Iowa
about I'm
and
going
then
to
gone
make
on to
butter.
win New
I just got a
Hampshire.
butter
Not to
churner.
mention the fact, I believe it's the
A
first time in
manual
history, I
one,
think Garrett
and
said,
I'm going to
where
make
the
butter
amount
on
of
Friday at the
independents and
White House.
Democrats voted in the GOP primary
butter.
outweighed the number of
Then we were talking about
Republicans. It's a
peanut butter, which
huge
is what we talk
deal
about
for him to
every
take both of these
broadcast.
states.
To win both and win both
Some
over
way, shape, or
50%.
form. So
And
I don't know. I
as,
might.
as
I might
Hogan
try.
says, he's going to win Nevada. It's
Flour.
not contested. And Haley will try to
I
stay
have
in for a while.
oh,
I
yeah, I
think
have
it's
flour.
not going to be a happy experience for her. The entire conservative media is going to attack her for staying in, saying this thing's over. Why are you helping Joe Biden? And if she stays through South Carolina, she's going to lose handily there as well.
Tara, I want to read from the Nikki Haley campaign memo that was put out before the voting was done in New Hampshire. It was a very effective memo, if you will. They write, listen, we started with 2% 11 months ago, $0 in the bank. No one thought we had a shot. No one thought we could get it done. And here we are, $50 million raised over 200 stops, and 12 fellas later, and Nikki's still standing. Will she still be standing after this loss?
I'm going to try and
I think the margins do matter. If it's a double-digit loss, then it will be difficult. Earlier, I said I thought it was a fait accompli anyway, that Donald Trump would be the nominee, and I didn't see a path for her regardless of the results tonight, even if she did win. But at this point, I'm not surprised by the result. We'll see at the end. We only have, 16% in. We'll see what the margins are at the end. But it's also a matter of whether donors still feel comfortable giving her money. We all know, we've been in campaigns long enough to know that you stay in the race as long as you have money. That's right. And so if the Koch network and other donors feel as though they can still support her, and that memo is something they think it creates a path, then she'll stay in. But to Hogan's point, she is losing by 30 to 40 points in her home state. I don't know any campaign where losing that decisively in your home state shows there's a path for you to gain momentum to move forward after that. So I think they're going to have a lot of discussion.
I think she has to make a decision.
The primary isn't until February 24th. So does she stay in and still hammer Trump and think that somehow that's going to weaken him moving forward? Maybe, but I don't see why. I don't see that really being realistic for her.
If you'd been told, if any of us been told, I know if I'd been told a year ago, even 3 months ago, Nikki Haley finished at whatever it's going to be, 45% in New Hampshire, I would have been shocked. I mean, she's overperformed in this campaign, but she's just, the way she's campaigned, the way she's been branded, the way she's been attacked, she's just too far over on the non-Trump side of the party, which where you can get that in a state where independents are a huge swing vote and they're coming all in because they don't have a Democratic contest, but that's just not going to be replicated elsewhere. And she's not going to be, DeSantis couldn't get enough of the Trump vote and widen into the non-Trump vote because she had it. She has a grip on the non-Trump vote, but won't be able to get further into the party to get to a winning plurality or majority place.
We know former President Trump likes to speak late on these nights, but when he does speak, Hogan, what do you think we're going to hear from him?
I think you're going to hear a very similar message to the one you heard after Iowa. He's going to thank Nikki most likely. He will also talk about the need to unify and focus on Joe Biden as he is the enemy, he believes, of this party and of this country. And I would imagine that's
Hogan, I got to interrupt you because we do have some breaking news. It looks like Nikki Haley's about to take the stage after losing New Hampshire. Here's the former UN ambassador now.
Oh, cool. Good grade. I wouldn't mind that at all. Oh, oops. Okay, hold on.
Thank you.
Darling Nikki is one of Prince's best songs.
Oh, I love what?
Easily dependent.
What a great night. God is so good all the time. Thank you, New Hampshire, for the love, the kindness, the support, and a great night here tonight. Thank you so much.
Hey, Ziggy.
I want to first say thank you to my husband, who I know is watching right now. I love you. We're excited to have you. Thank you. I want to thank my kids who are here, Rita and Dalen and Josh, who have really kind of stepped
I'm on
up
NBC. Yeah,
and
I'm
just
so
given
sorry,
me the
Pepper.
support I need. You
It's
really
such a
pull
good
on your family
song.
when
Oh,
something
it's
like
a
this
beautiful
happens,
song.
and I am incredibly blessed by their support.
No, she's not going to be a VP. He's going to pick someone who's more
have my
controllable.
parents
He
at
learned his
home.
lesson with Pence.
And I
He
will
wants a
always say
Stefanik
that the
or
way
a
they raised
Ramaswamy
me
or
to know
Tim
that
Scott.
we lived in the best country in the
He
world,
wants someone who's going to do
but to
exactly what he
also
says.
know that the
Or
best
Tucker
way you
Carlson,
appreciate your
because he's such a
blessings is
fucking
to
asshole.
give
You know
back.
what I mean? Like,
Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you so much.
yeah, it's
To my siblings, to my in-laws, to everybody back at home, to Vicky
really
for helping me
is.
take care of Mom and Dad. Thank you
It
for that.
really is.
You know, I will tell you, it has been,
I wish we
it
could
feels
listen
like
to
it's
it,
been a
but I will
lifetime,
get
but it has
so
been almost a
fucking
year that we've been
slammed with
campaigning in
that
New
shutdown.
Hampshire, touching every hand,
They don't play.
answering every question, being the last
Princess
person to
State
leave.
does not play.
And we had the most amazing thing
What
happen
is she wearing?
is the second that we got the endorsement
Is
from
that a sheer
Governor
dress?
Chris Sununu.
Chris Sununu and her are bunking. I'm telling you that right now. They're doing the nasty.
I mean, a
They're
true
raising
governor
some
that doesn't
poles
stand
in the
behind a
back
podium.
stage.
He
If
shows
you know
up
what I
at a
mean.
diner. He shows up at the brewery. He loves the people of New
Yeah,
Hampshire.
you know what he
He
does?
has
He
been with me
loves
every
your
single day at every single event. Chris, I couldn't have done
you're
it.
fine. Ambassador.
And I want to thank someone who was with me on day one. He's a patriot. He's a
I mean, this sounds
hardcore
like a I'm
conservative.
dropping out speech.
And he is my friend, General Don Bolduc and Sharon. Thank
Oh,
you
God.
so
He's going to say General Mike Flynn.
I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory tonight. He earned it, and I want to acknowledge that.
Oh, but I don't
Now,
really
you've all
mean it.
heard
'Cause
the
that's what I
chatter
said. And when
among
I
the
say
political
things like
class.
this, I don't really mean
They're
it.
falling
man.
all over
Bless your
themselves,
heart.
saying this race is over.
It is. It's over. Snickers. Snickerdoodles.
Well, I have news for all of them.
Uh-oh.
New
Going
Hampshire
on to South
is
Carolina.
first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation.
Gonna hang in there until a week before South
This
Carolina.
race is
Let's
far
call it.
from over.
Place
There
your
are
bets, ladies.
dozens of
These C's and
states
A's,
left to
place
go.
your bets. Place your bets. Well, we stopped. Nobody knows. Yeah, he's going to drop out before South Carolina. Because it's later in February. That's why she's staying in. So she can raise more money.
At one point in this campaign, there were 14 of us running.
Shift dresses.
And we were at 2% in the polls.
Like I'm sorry. Well,
I'm a
I don't
fighter.
think there's anything she could do to win her home state, though. She's very unpopular, it seems, in the GOP in South Carolina. I don't know. That's my
And now
hot take.
we're the last one standing next to Donald Trump.
Is she going to get more
And today we got close to half of the vote.
Is she recently running?
We still have a ways to go, but we keep moving
I don't
up.
get this. I don't get that at all. But, you know, whatever.
For a lot of people, politics is way too personal. It's not personal for me. I voted for Trump twice.
Wait, what?
I was proud to serve America in his cabinet. I agree with many of his
Nevada.
policies.
Forgot about that.
I decided to run because I'm worried about the future of our country and because it's time to put the negativity and chaos behind us. We have an economy that's crushing middle-class Americans. We have a border that is totally open and dangerous, creating a disaster in our country.
Nikki, and stop price gouging. Why don't you do that?
We have schools that are failing too many of our children, and
Well,
we have a world on fire with a war in Europe and the Middle East and a huge and growing threat from China. And then you look at Washington, D.C.
Our guys do endorsements.
We have a Congress
It's so much easier to run a campaign when not charged with
and
sedition
accomplishes nothing.
Thank you, Rip. Very good observation.
And we have Joe Biden in the White House making one bad decision after another.
So true, Max. I don't think she wants one.
When he's making any decisions at all.
I think this is a way to leverage for 2028.
Our country's in a real mess.
She is leveraging her bankability for 2028. I think she is that fucking dumb that she thinks if he wins, that she still has a chance to not be in the quarry next to me, cracking rock, looking for lithium. Okay, bitch?
And the
You and I
question
are headed for the quarries because
who's
you're
gonna
now
fix
at
it?
the age where you're not having any more children. Neither am I. So guess what? Boop, boop.
With Donald
Off we
Trump,
go.
Republicans have lost almost
Ready
every
to shank one of the
competitive
guards,
election.
Nikki. You and I are out
We
of here.
lost the Senate. We lost the House.
Oh, liar, yeah.
We lost the White
I haven't
House.
seen that
We lost
clip
in
of
2018. We lost in 2020. And we
I know
lost
it is.
in
It's totally
2022. The
She's got
worst
money.
kept secret in
She's got all the
politics
money.
is how badly the Democrats want to
She's
run
got all
against
the
Donald Trump.
money. Oh yeah, he's totally going to birth her. I don't know if that's going
They
to
know
stick though.
Trump is the only
She
Republican
already
in
had.
the
She already
country
rode those
who
horses.
Joe
in
Biden
the
can defeat.
Governor. People
You
brought that up
can't
back
fix
then too.
you
It's
can't
dumb.
fix the mess if you don't win an election. A Trump
Well, why don't you
nomination
win, you
is
loser?
a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I defeat Biden handily.
Yeah, I don't think that's true, actually.
With Donald Trump, you
We
have
love you,
one bout of
Snickers.
chaos after
I can't
another.
stop calling her Snickers.
This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment.
Ooh.
You can't fix Joe Biden's chaos with Republican chaos.
Ooh. Wow.
The other day, Donald Trump accused
Mingle is
me
causing a
of
full
not
with
providing
Monterey
security at the Capitol on January 6th.
Will this racist on stage commit to that? No.
No, I've long called
I
for
know,
mental
she's on the
competency
primary,
tests
you're
for
right.
politicians
That's
over
so
the age
weird,
of
Paul.
75.
Nevada's so weird. Okay,
Trump
whatever.
claims he'd do better than me in one of those tests.
I'm telling you, it's a shit
Maybe
show.
he would, maybe he wouldn't. But if he thinks that, then he should have no problem standing on a debate stage with me.
You can have a Snickers. U.S. elections are complicated. Well, I'm just gonna keep it simple. They're done. I mean, the way these things can be really done. It is showing how idiocracy we've become, though. Oh, crazy Whoa,
Most
camera work.
Americans
How are we doing?
do not want a rematch between Biden and Trump.
Well, why?
The first party to retire its 80-year-old candidate is going to be the party that wins this election.
Oh.
And I think it should be the Republicans that win this election.
Just ahead until the midterms came in, yeah.
So our
That's
fight
weird.
is not over because
Have
we
they
have
done
a
the
country
mail-ins
to
yet?
save. In the next 2 months, millions of voters in over 20 states will have their say. We should honor them and allow them to vote.
Yes.
And guess what? In the next 2 months,
I love the word
Joe
mendacious.
Biden isn't going to get
Mendacious
any
is a
younger
great
or
word.
any better. We'll have
It is
all
a good
the time
line. No,
we
it's
need
good.
to
It
defeat
has
Joe Biden.
balance, symmetry.
When we get to South Carolina, Donald Trump's going to have a harder time falsely attacking me. The great people of South Carolina
We're going to
know I
storm the
cut their
mobile
taxes.
station
They
on
know
Route 93 out of
They know I
Nashua.
signed the
Let's all
toughest
go.
illegal immigration bill in the country. They know we passed voter ID and tort reform and ethics reform. And they know we
Really?
moved 35,000 people from welfare to work.
Are you still talking about South Carolina? Oh my God. Don't act like that was a success.
We've just been listening to former UN Ambassador Nikki
nobody wants
Haley
to
deliver
talk.
her concession speech there in New Hampshire, but making it very clear she is not going anywhere. She is staying in this race and using this time to thank her supporters, thank her family, but then going full throttle against Donald Trump, saying that if she would take a mental competency test over 75, that he should take one, that he's scared to debate her, that a Trump nomination is a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency. Clearly, she's not going anywhere, saying she's staying into South Carolina till Super Tuesday, at least for now, is what she's saying tonight. Our panel's here along with Chuck Todd. Chuck, I'm going to start with you. At first, we weren't sure where she was going with this speech, but then she made it clear. I'm sticking around. I'm not going anywhere. And there's all these states left.
There were a lot of family thank yous. Yeah, it made you wonder, like, oh, where's this going? That was. And then she said, I'm not going anywhere. I understand the desire to get to Super Tuesday because there are quite a few states that have similar ballot rules as New Hampshire. And she's got a path to 45% in a lot of places, which could accumulate some delegates. The question is, does she have a path to 50% plus one anywhere? And the real problem she has is Super Tuesdays in March.
So excited.
I'm checking the calendar again. Today's still January, right?
Yeah.
She's got to slog the next 31 days before we get to South Carolina.
Also,
with the only contest being is Nevada, I believe, which she's not participating in because
of
of the weird caucus rules. So this momentum that she was able to create over the last 3 weeks, how does she get it? There's no debate, right? What's an event? What's a, her biggest fear, the donors that have been pouring money into her over the last couple of months, they're focused on one thing. They don't want Biden-Trump. Haley is the vehicle to try to stop Biden-Trump. If this vehicle can't work, they're going to look for other vehicles.
So excited, he's
so no labels business. What she's got to worry about is, do her donors give her enough money to go through Super Tuesday, or do they say, you know what, I'm not throwing any more money on this. I'm going to try the no label. Now I'm going to go to no labels. That's, to me, the next week we're going to find out, and she's going to find out how confident her donors are in her. To try to go through.
Our Nikki Haley embed, Greg Hyatt, tells me that tomorrow, this week, and next week, I think she's meeting with donors on Wall Street to get more money from New York and other states to try to keep her campaign alive. I want to go to a graphic we've made. Former President Trump out on Truth Social, putting his reaction to his victory, but also the Nikki Haley concession speech. He started by saying, Haley said she had to win in New Hampshire. She didn't. He goes on to say more. She came in third last week, exclamation point. And then finally, this last one, delusional, exclamation point, exclamation point. I want to bring back our fine panel here who, you know, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley called the political class, right? Over the conversation we were just having with you guys.
She was referring to Hogan.
She was just referring to Hogan, okay.
Right.
Rich, but she says it's not over.
Yeah.
Is she wrong?
This is great.
I think she probably is. This doesn't surprise me that she came out and still in it. You know, as long as you're in it, you got to be in it and say you're going to fight and you're going to win. She's, you know, going after Trump in a pretty tough way. It doesn't feel as though there's an off ramp there that she's expecting, you know, onto his ticket. But Chuck described the slog, the month until South Carolina, and then
why
probably,
can't she get stronger?
Yeah.
Is it just too hard?
It's possible, but South Carolina, she's polling really poorly in South Carolina. It's a strong Trump state, and it's a state that demonstrates how Trump has this ability. He's still an outsider, right? He has his outsider vibe, outsider appeal to a lot of people. At the same time, he is in some ways, in many ways, the establishment candidate. So
I don't
was
blame her
mentioning
actually for
earlier,
not dropping out.
every
I'm gonna
elected
be honest.
official in
If I
South
were
Carolina
her
is
and there was
behind
like
Trump. You
3
expect the
solid
former
weeks until
governor
the next
to have that, but he's the former
primary
president that everyone
I'd
expects
stay
to
in.
win,
I've got
and
the money.
it's going to be
Who
really tough
cares?
for her down there.
So Tara, I saw you
Not our
watching this
money.
speech. You're a never Trumper. Did she motivate you? Did you now want her to stay in the race longer?
I mean, look, I told you, I felt as though they were always running for second place from the very beginning. Both Nikki Haley, DeSantis, all of them. When they had an opportunity to go after Trump and cut him off at the knees, they didn't take it. So you can't play footsie with MAGA and then expect to beat them in the end. Like they just never ran the type of campaign to take Trump out from the beginning. So anyone who stays in the race that weakens Donald Trump in the general election, I'm fine with it. I mean, she can go right ahead and do that if it weakens him. I saw some interesting numbers here, even though she didn't win enough independents. She needed to win about 65% of the independents in New Hampshire. She won 61%. But if we look at those numbers and break down those suburban areas and those independents, it shows weakness for Trump in the general. And I think that's the value that she brings, is showing people who are still voting. They're not voting for Trump necessarily, but they're voting for Trump, but not in the ways that he would need for a general election. So that's the only value that I see.
Is there enough money out there to keep her alive past South Carolina? Is there enough money out there?
I mean, there's lots of money out there.
But is there enough? Is there enough money that's going to be written to say, okay, we believe in you?
Well, that's what I said earlier. It depends on what the
except for he
does
still
and
would
those donors.
split.
There are major billionaires out there.
Oh, you
There's
know why
Wall
you
Street
guys
out
don't
there.
see
They're
him?
looking
It's
for
because
somewhere
he's
to put their
on
money. Do they see a path for her?
Twitter.
I'm not so
He's
sure
on
because
Twitter.
everyone we've seen
He's a
so
little
far,
X by
from
his
Jamie
face.
Dimon on down in the Wall
Means
Street
he's on
class,
Twitter. He's
they're
not
beginning to
the
coalesce
YouTube
behind Trump again because they
Little
like
by
tax
little,
cuts.
right.
That's right.
Hogan, before we start with you, I do want to put the poll up on our screen. This is South Carolina, the next contest in the GOP race for the nomination. And the numbers here, they're just not great for Nikki Haley. 64% for Trump, 25% for Haley there. You're from South Carolina. You look at these numbers, you hear her speech, and listen, if you're on the fence for Nikki Haley, you hear her speech, she sounds like she still wants to fight, that she's a warrior, she's ready to go into South Carolina. But what's going to happen when she gets here, do you think?
They're all going to stay in until they don't. DeSantis was going to stay in until he didn't. The same thing applies here. What else is she going to say unless she wants to get out and endorse Trump tonight, which she's not going to do? She feels as though this race is between herself and Donald Trump, and it is. I mean, there are more people on the Democrat primary ticket than there are on the Republican side. But the point has been made here ad nauseum, but it's worth saying again, and that is, it is very difficult for someone like Nikki Haley, who, yes, was governor of this state and also won re-election there, to be down so far and expect to win her home state. Everyone in South Carolina, the statewide office holders at the local level, the governor, attorney general, they're all lining up behind Donald Trump. And even as we said, Tim Scott, a senator from the state of South Carolina, someone Nikki Haley put in his position, appointed him, and he is for Donald Trump. I just don't see a world in which she continues.
You've run campaigns that have come out successful in Iowa, and then later had to keep raising money until it got to a point where it was just there was reality there.
Rated Iowa.
But talk about the conversations with donors when you're on the Nikki Haley campaign and you're picking up the phone tonight. What is the pitch to donors?
Well, interestingly enough, the Wall Street conversation hurts her with the GOP base. You're telling me she's going to go to Wall Street and ask for more money? That's a pariah. Like when she was given the Koch money, in politics on the Republican side, typically you would say, wow, look at this great boost of influx of money. Now it's like, wait, of course she would get the Koch money because she's an establishment globalist like they are. So it's not necessarily a good thing.
This is interesting because I think this is a shift
we're
away
going to get through
from
South Carolina and then we're going to
corporate
play in.
money
She's
of
got to have a
certain type
strategy that's
in
specific because these
politics,
people are millionaires and
replaced by
billionaires,
other ways
not by
to
being
do dark
stupid,
money.
but by
You know
knowing
what I
how to
mean?
invest money to
I
get
think
a
this is really
return. And
interesting.
if they don't see a
It's a real
return in
shift
any of
in the
these states,
conservative
I don't know
movement.
what kind of pitch she's going to make.
It's a pragmatic. You know,
Like, this
she's
is
a
a
vehicle,
historic
right?
moment
It's not
in this,
like they'll
in the
crawl over
political
broken glass
history
for
of this
Nikki Haley
country.
because they believe so deeply in her.
Fucking
They think she
amazing
has a
moment.
shot, and if they
What a
conclude she
year.
doesn't, they'll go someplace else.
Ali Vitale is at the Haley campaign headquarters. She was
just like
there
Ali
watching
Vitale,
that speech unfold as well. Ali, talk to me about what stood out to you, because in the beginning, it almost sounded like she was going to say, I'm out of this race. But then she, again, just went straight after Donald Trump and didn't let her foot off the gas.
You know what, though? In Iowa, Tom, she started the same way by profusely thanking her family and the people who
actually,
helped her
baby,
get
you're
to this
absolutely
position
right.
in the first place.
Baby says,
Thanking her
honestly, this is
husband
good
who's
for
serving a
Democrats.
tour
It shows that
overseas,
independents want
thanking her
something
kids
other than
for
Trump.
stepping up
It
in the
was really
meantime, and
interesting
thanking the
because
governor of the state
it
of New
was
Hampshire, Chris
very,
Sununu, who was a
you do
driving
have an
force behind the
electorate that is
way
a
that
little
she
more
barnstormed in
complicated
this
when it
state
comes.
in the
There's
closing
quite a
week
few
of the primary here. He was with her in diners, at coffee shops,
New
and of course at
Hampshireans,
town halls.
and
Now, of course,
fiercely
Haley thanking him
independent,
from this big stage and
fiercely
announcing
independent. Like, they
early in
do
the
not
night
want to
that
be
she's going
told
to
what
be
to
staying
do.
in. It sort of
So, yeah,
reminded
no,
me of
very
back in
good point, baby.
2020 when
Very
Amy
good.
Klobuchar in Iowa came out early, said she did well enough to call it a win by
So
her standards,
bizarre.
and then moved on to New Hampshire. That's kind of what Haley is doing right here in New Hampshire, trying to
But I
just
do think
bounce
it's
on
smart.
into what
Yeah,
she
the winner
keeps
here was
calling
Biden.
sweet
That's a
South
really good point.
Carolina because it's her home state. I think your panel's right to point out
And the
it is
fact
a
that he
real
was not
slog
on the
there for a
ballot,
number of
baby,
reasons,
and he was a
specifically the
write-in
idea that there's
candidate
less
in the
college plus
Democratic
age voters
primary and
there,
got
the
80%
idea
of the
that this is
vote
really a place
is
that,
very
as we were
good.
talking about before, was
The
one of the
numbers
first real
look.
places that we saw
She's
Trump
Ali
country begin to show its
Vitale
power in
alive.
2016.
I really
Nevertheless,
like
there were
her.
some
She's a
parts
good
of Nikki
journalist.
Haley's
Some
speech
of their
that really
field
stood out
journalists
to
are
me,
so good.
specifically just the general way that she is
Just don't watch
basically making an open
MSNBC or any of
invitation
them.
to anyone who, like her, voted for Trump
They
twice,
don't do any,
not
like,
served in his administration, though she
super
points out that
business.
she did that for him as well, and liked his policies. She's now
We need
inviting them, hey, if you like all those things
we
and
need
you
a
voted for him
resurgence
twice,
of
I will offer
journalism.
you those things without the chaos,
There
without
needs
the
to be a
court cases,
resurgence.
without, in her words, the senior moments, talking about Trump in the most direct fashion that we've heard her do it, challenging him to debate her, challenging him in some ways to take a mental fitness or mental acuity test. She said that on the day that she announced her presidential bid almost a year ago in South Carolina. She said, if you
Very
are over
gamesman-like
75,
in
you
this
should be
phase of
taking a
history.
mental fitness test.
Very
Clearly,
gamesman.
she's challenging
Very
Trump on that front now, almost directly.
silly
This is a
in
real
some
moment
ways.
where we're
Important.
watching Nikki
Silly.
Haley take her most direct shots at Trump yet, but we're also watching her make age the key issue here in this race. It's almost the thing that she says with reluctance and a little twinge of sadness that she almost hates to be saying this about her rival, but it is the seed that she's continued to plant in the minds
They
of
love
voters
that.
both here in
People
New
love
Hampshire
that
and
in
of
certain
course
parts of the
down the
country,
rest
right?
of the
They really love
primary
the personal
calendar as
touch.
she goes.
Like,
That's the one
debate me,
thing that
bro.
Trump's not going to be
Yeah.
able to
Why
change.
not?
He's not going to be able to change
It'll
how
be a good
old he is,
debate.
and frankly, neither is Joe Biden. And it plays upon a fear that I've already heard from Republicans. Republicans have done a really good job of instilling concern about Joe Biden's age and acuity. Now, Nikki Haley is lumping him in with Donald Trump, and that makes the concern tougher. It is a very subtle way to dig into the minds of voters, and she's hoping that this is an issue that can be a wedge that she can use to get to the nomination.
Ali, before you go, does the margin of victory matter here? Because as we watch more of the vote come in, the spread's getting wider and wider. We're now a double-digit lead with former President Trump over Nikki Haley. If this turns out to be a shellacking, do you think she eventually drops out, or do you think that's it? She's made the speech. She's sticking in this at least until South Carolina.
That's right. She is on.
It's going to matter hugely, and I think that's why she came out as early as she did, because right now we're looking at the results and we're thinking, well, it looks a lot closer than we thought it would be.
Although she
Her
is the
campaign
biggest
team is
corporate
seeing that too. It
shrill,
was a shrewd move
or
for them to come
shill,
out
rather.
early and say,
whatever
this
that
was
is.
good
What's
enough.
that
We
thing
did
when they're
really
like
well.
a
Let's go to what they
puppet
would
of a
call maybe
corporation?
greener pastures in South
Gen
Carolina.
Z writing
But
postcards.
again, we can't underscore
Oh,
enough how
that's so
tough of a
great.
slog that is. But the
Gen Z
margin is
writing
going to
postcards
matter
played a big role
immensely
in
here
electing a
because when
Dem
she
state rep in
goes to
Florida.
meet her
That's
donors
fantastic.
in New York and Texas and across the country,
Wow, the
that's
massive
going
dumps
to be the
continue.
proof of purchase, the return on investment. How close can she actually get to
I
Donald
think that's
Trump?
a
How
mail-in
much of a
vote.
match can she
I think it's
actually
a
make
mail-in
this?
vote.
All right, Ali Vitale for us from the Haley watch
Yeah,
party
it
tonight. Ali, we
is. It
appreciate
is
all your
about Gen
reporting.
Z.
Please stand by.
You're
Joining us
so
now
correct,
live, Frank
baby.
Luntz,
This
a
race is
pollster
about
and
Gen
political
Z voters.
strategist and analyst and
Oh
former
yeah,
Democratic
you're
senator
so
from Missouri,
Frank
Claire
fucking
McCaskill. We
motherfucker.
appreciate you guys both being here.
Fucking
Frank, I'm going to
fascist
start with you.
Frank
You wrote the
motherfucker.
book, Words That
Fucking
Matter.
bitch.
Any of
Fucking
the words that Nikki
hate
Haley
fucking
said tonight, will they matter
I
with
like
Republican
it.
voters?
Actually, I don't
Yes,
really
they
like
will,
it.
but we still can't tell whether it's a double-digit win or not. That question that
This
you
guy is the
asked
biggest
your
fucking
colleague
fool.
moments ago is the question. If she wins, if
Incel,
she loses by
bitch
less than
kitten,
10%,
tool
she
face,
has permission to go
shithead,
on, the voter permission. If
motherfucking
that becomes a
chaos agent,
double-digit loss, it's kind
probably
of
friends
hard
with
to
Chuck
see
Johnson,
how she recovers.
probably a
In
white
terms of her language, three things that
probably.
matter.
I
Number
hate
one,
this guy.
electability. Does she
I
have
don't
what it
hate him.
takes
I don't really
to
know,
beat Joe
but I
Biden?
don't like him
Number
very
two,
much.
chaos. You hear her use that word all the time. Is she the kind of leader that the Republicans are looking for? And number three, can she capture that unaffiliated, that vote that isn't so hardcore Republican, to demonstrate that she can put together a majority in these other states? The first two, arguably, yes. The last one is much tougher, and that's why the final margin of tonight matters considerably.
Frank, I do want to ask you, though, when you look at this race and you listen to
Is he
her
sitting
message,
in
and you've
like
helped craft so many speeches and
mall?
phrases for candidates that have won
Is that
races,
set a mall?
did she craft her message too late? Did she sort of
I
get
know,
her
we should
voice
do it.
too late
Ooh.
in this process?
We should have a postcard
That's a
writing
great question.
party.
And if you watch her debate
I bet
performance,
you I could
she
stream
got
that.
better as
Would that
time
be
went on.
fun?
She found her
I'm gonna
voice.
look
She
into that.
found the language, the
Hold
messaging
on, let me make a note of
that
it because if I
put her as close as it
he's
did
left for the
here in New
Republicans
Hampshire.
debate.
But
He
this
won't
is the
debate.
best
Trump is
state
not
for
going to get
her.
on a stage and debate.
Independents
So
can
he
vote here.
absolutely has
Moderates
to.
are a significant percentage
He
of the
knows that
Republican
leaves him
vote.
vulnerable.
Her
He
message
knows.
is so attuned to them.
He
She
knows.
cannot forget Donald
He
Trump's
knows what he's doing.
intensity. The level of passion and support of his supporters is unlike anything I've seen in my career. Unlodging them or dislodging them is pretty darn hard. And clearly she hasn't succeeded to the level that she wanted to do tonight.
Frank, is it frustrating to you as somebody who's worked with so many Republicans that close to 50%, maybe more, maybe a little less, of Republicans don't want former President Trump, and yet he's going to be the nominee?
I don't think the word is frustrating. I do want a positive message. I do want someone who's hopeful. I want someone who's focused on the future. The governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, who just walked into the room right across from me, right here. You can hear the noise as he's walking in. He's the kind of Republican that this country needs to look and find a more positive approach. Donald Trump understands his voters. He gets them. And he knows how to deliver the kind of speech and the kind of message that they're looking for. Nikki Haley, it's a little tougher because, quite frankly, the Republican Party of 2024 is not.
Anybody have
the
an
Republican Party
organization
of
that
10 years
does
ago.
voter outreach?
Frank Luntz, we appreciate that. As they're continuing to count votes there in Milford, New Hampshire, on the left side of the screen. Senator Claire McCaskill, you've won elections, you've lost elections. I asked Hogan this question, but you've had to do this. How hard is it now to call your supporters in South Carolina, call your election teams, get them excited, and then call your donors and say, I need you to write another check?
I don't think it's going to be hard at all for Nikki Haley to raise money.
I
She's
know.
got plenty of money. That's not
Yeah,
her problem.
there are no Republicans.
But I got to turn this on its head a little bit. I mean, really, this is the former president.
Conservatism.
Which is like an incumbent
moral,
to the Republican Party.
Control of
and he
other
managed 50% in Iowa.
And that party
He's at 50% in New Hampshire
the
of his
problem with
own
their
party. Now, I know in Iowa, in New Hampshire, unaffiliated voters can vote in the Republican primary. But I don't see how this is necessarily a show of strength for him.
I'm sorry.
I mean, Joe Biden's going to get more than 50%. He's not even on the ballot.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I can't stand this woman. I'm sorry. You can read the fucking. I cannot listen to her voice. I'm sorry. I really can't stand Claire McCaskill. Anyway, the point is that the Republican platform is essentially demagoguery and control and forcing culture wars. Okay. So that is what the Republican Party stands for. So it's not about, do they have a workable candidate, and do they have a this, and how will it play on the national and beat a bot? No, crazy Ivan. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. They have no platform, and what they do have, baby, is completely geared towards deregulation, towards tax cuts for the rich, towards stopping all forms of immigration, ensuring we never have a workable minimum wage, ensuring serfdom so that the kleptocrats like fucking Peter Thiel and all of the buddies around them and the CNP and Tom Klingenstein at the fucking Claremont Institute and all of that shit, so that they can have their white male paradise and control populations in ways they fantasize about. But they do not understand that that is actually not feasible, and that is why they never succeed. They may get power from time to time, but notice how they fuck it up. Now, I'm not saying the Dems are perfect, you know me. But what I am saying is there is not necessarily a viable choice in today's Republican Party because of the influences of organizations and kleptocrats like Peter Thiel, like the Council for National Policy, like the Claremont Institute. That is what we're voting against when we vote against Republican candidates. Because from top to bottom, Steve Bannon has led the ground charge over the last 6 to 7 to 8 years intensely to get the ground game and get positions, starting with school board and working their way up. So even local races have been engineered through things like Steve Bannon's, precinctstrategy.com, through Cause for America, which is fucking Mike Lindell's outreach arm, if you will, when it comes to election integrity, and basically bragged that they have at least connections in Cause for America in every fucking county in this country. They have been working on this for fucking years. It is just all culture wars, and it's a way to control and it's fear. They're afraid of losing control. They want to break. It's accelerationist, right? To see what happens. That's why serfdom is fine. Serfdom is great for them. That's the goal. That's the reason. That's right. The only reason we have any form of public health care is Democrats. This might be that time, and Trump could screw up our government. Oh my gosh, baby, I know. I really do feel that, as simply as I can put it, Trump was a Trojan horse who was set up to test the limits of what a president could do in government. And his handlers, namely the CNP, etc., are hell bent on fear politics and othering, and moving us towards an unregulated, privatized. They will privatize schools. They will ensure that, they're already doing that. They're already giving federal money to private or religious charter schools in Tennessee, and I think in Kentucky. So that's already happening. Roe's gone, in case we haven't noticed. So the testing of the fences has happened. And now those machines, that independent, they don't all have to work together. This doesn't have to be the one villain sitting, with the finger in his mouth, like $1 million, like that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people with similar fears and aims and bigotry and the desire to put capitalism on steroids, right? And put them on steroids to the point Bannon plans to destroy all the government departments, right? And the fact that SCOTUS has not expanded in the many years since it stopped at 9 is not right. The far left, well, I mean, I understand that. I want us to, I don't mind authentic, like, advocacy, because I believe very deeply in the value in this country of having people who disagree with each other ideologically. I draw the line at bigotry and stopping people from having equal protection under the law or equal right, like all of those things. That's where I draw the line. So the problem, folks, is that the Republican Party has some fundamental core tenets that will never be acceptable to me because they seek to harm others. So I won't, like that. And it's not the vote blue no matter who. I'm not there. I want people to be informed about their choices. Here, I'll go back to this. We can hear Mr. New Hampshire talk about who he voted for. Who he voted for?
Anybody. Like, he doesn't take any money from donors. He just loves America.
Wait, what?
And I think he just wants the best for America.
NBC News has now projected that the former president has won this primary. Your reaction here?
I'm happy about that. So I hope he can go on and win the general election in November and take down whoever's going to run for the Democratic Party. I don't think
That's
Biden's going to be
that's
their
true.
candidate.
Small government.
The country's going in the wrong direction. I mean, what's going on here? Like, the economy is
not
bad.
going back on YouTube. We're going to have to deal with it. But I think the youth will actually help us get through that.
I feel like there's so much corruption
See
going
what
on
he
in government
says.
on both sides, Republican and Democrats.
Do you believe that Nikki Haley should drop out of this race? There's been some discussion around that. You saw the current chair of the Republican National Committee come out tonight and say that listen, we don't know what the margins are, but she said if Donald Trump has a strong showing, that sends a clear message
and the
about
federalism to
where the electorate is at, about unity here in the party. And yet Nikki Haley says, hey, listen, this is not a coronation. People deserve the chance to make their voices heard.
I don't really care if he thinks Nikki Haley.
Well, I believe that Nikki Haley has a chance. Like, I don't think she should drop out just.
Okay, great. We're glad to hear you think that. That's a good, that's a good baseline. Anyway, so after the testing of the fences, now they've gotten smarter about how government works from the inside. They learned a lot. They learned a lot about how to get around the shit. Don't forget, we still don't know also what Kash Patel was doing at the archives, what you know what I mean? Like, there are so many unknowns about what that administration actually did do, that's why it is something that could give you pause, where you're looking forward and going, holy shit, if they were able to do this and get away with it, basically. I know he doesn't take any money. George W. Oh, heinous, horrible, horrible. Oh, the platform totally matters. Oh my God, judges. It took me 3 days to go through the judge candidates in Los Angeles at the last 2022 election. It was so a lot. I know, I can totally back our platform. Bullshit. I know Trump takes tons of money. These people are so stupid. They believe anything. You know why? Because it's lazy media literacy. It's lazy media literacy. And again, I don't say people are dumb. I say they're being dumb, right? Rip is in Twitter. Rip is in Twitter. So you see the X by his picture. He's in Twitter. So I think that the danger of a Republican administration, even if it is a Haley administration, first of all, that's Koch money. I mean, come the fuck on. They have similar goals to someone like a Peter Thiel, where if they privatize things like, well, I think that they're not so much on that, although maybe they are, but privatizing security, privatizing police forces, militarizing even more police forces than we have now, because then they can pay off their friends in the Eric Prince world, right? Of militarization. And so that's policing. Then they privatize education, like I said, opening religious charter schools, which they're doing right now. So sky's the limit on shitty schools. Sky's the limit, because anybody with an asshole will be able to hang a shingle and say, I'm a charter school. I guarantee it. So that's that. Immigration will be all fucked up. I do believe they would do mass deportations. I think dreamers would be at risk of being deported. There will be a national ban on abortion. That'll happen. No matter how much they talk about states' rights, they have every intention of policing us through federal measures. I don't get that twisted. And I know I'm speaking to the choir, so I'm sorry, but I'm just ranting. For the haters that do lurk, maybe they listen to something. Yikes, Mikes. Yeah, so I think that the danger is that this is not normal, and I really resist and hate that these media entities treat this like it's some kind of normal. I think there's a way to do both. I think there's a way to go through the oh well, I lost my place. There goes my brain. Oh, they don't care about states' rights. They don't. And the thing is they only say states' rights when they know that the states will kind of kowtow to their end goals. And I mean there in terms of just like kind of conservative ideals. I mean, to some degree, Project 2025. I haven't looked at his 47 thing, which I think is supposed to be Trump's platform, but I haven't looked at it. I don't really care. I don't really care. I don't think he's going to win. I think
Can I just say, I'm going to have a burger and then no comment on what happens when we're off the air. We'll let that just live here in Manchester.
That'll be off the record. Hallie Jackson, thank you so much for that. We are at the top of the hour. Our coverage of the first in the nation primary continues right now.
Literally tried to stop the fucking peaceful transfer of power, which is one of the tenets of our country, the tenets of the stability of our country.
Reporting tonight, Tom Llamas.
And good evening. Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the New Hampshire presidential primary. It has been a big night for former President Trump. But Nikki Haley refusing to back down. To get you up to speed, NBC News projecting that former President Trump has won the New Hampshire primary, defeating his last standing challenger, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Right now, you can see where the vote sat, about 28% of the vote in. And you can see Donald Trump expanding his lead here. The Haley campaign saying they are not going to drop out of this race. You can see Trump's lead, though, even still starting to widen. But within minutes of that call, Haley did this. She
was it loud? Oh my God, I'm so
at her
sorry.
campaign headquarters in New Hampshire, addressing supporters in a fiery and defiant speech and going after Trump.
I'm so sorry.
New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation.
In Biden's 2020 win in Pennsylvania on November 23rd, literal dancing in the streets in population centers nationwide, more akin to a VE Day celebration than an election win. This is absolutely the right take, Matt. Very good take. Americans are not, no, we've learned. There's enough of us that have learned. Not my fault.
We are now waiting to hear the victory speech from the former president that could come at any moment, and we will bring it to you live as soon as it happens. I want to get right over to Garrett Hake. He's standing by at the Trump campaign headquarters. He's been watching all of this. So, Garrett, my first question to you is, what do we expect to hear from the former president? Because I think we've already got a sense of it on Truth Social, and it sounds like he's getting angrier and angrier that Nikki Haley has not dropped out.
Yeah, Tom, I think that's right. And it's notable because after he won in Iowa, we saw a very conciliatory tone from Donald Trump in his victory speech there. And we may yet see that tone tonight. He knows he's going to have a huge audience across the country, not just Republican primary voters, but the voters, the swingy voters that he hopes to win over in a general election. And he wants to project the kind of calm competence and try to unite Republicans, including Haley voters, behind him. That said, on his social media platform, his first commentary on the fact that Nikki Haley was speaking
Donald
and
Trump
not dropping
37
out
minutes
tonight
ago. She
was
just
to call
listened
her
about it, which is up
delusional and
next.
to suggest that she basically
39
failed
minutes
to
ago. She
meet
came in third last
the
week.
high bar that she set for
40
herself
minutes ago.
of winning
Delusional.
in New Hampshire. So I think what
47
we can
minutes ago.
expect
Haley said
is
she
really a
had to
two-pronged
win in New
approach to the
Hampshire.
Trump
She
campaign
didn't.
going forward. To try to
1
show
hour
that they
ago.
can be
Wow, we are really
open-armed
doing well.
to
Despite
even
all the
Nikki
Biden
Haley
votes
and
going
her
for
supporters,
Haley.
like they have been to the other candidates who've dropped out of this race, to try to rebuild the Big Ten of the Republican Party. And by the way, they've already gotten
She
2
is losing it. There are
senatorial
all these like
endorsements
one
tonight, one from
posts
Josh
at a
Hawley,
time.
who was always sort of a Trump guy, but one from John Cornyn, who I can tell you is nobody's
Yeah,
idea
he
of a
did say a
MAGA
lot of it.
senator on
He
Capitol
did.
Hill, kind of coming back into the fold tonight. But they're also going to start
I
to make
spent the
Nikki
last 2
Haley's
months
life very
retweeting some of
miserable
those
and very lonely.
celebrations.
About
Oh,
5 minutes after this race was
I
called,
was so
Tom, I
excited.
turned around to see
I
South
admit
Carolina
it. I
Senator
cried.
Tim Scott walk into the ballroom as a
He
guest
did
of the
say
Trump
Timothy
campaign.
Laconia,
He's now
which
about to become probably one of the most recognizable political
oh,
surrogates in the country. Likewise with South Carolina's Republican governor, a Trump endorser, the other
I'm gonna
Senator
see
Lindsey
the
Graham,
date.
a Trump
I'm gonna see
endorser,
my
and much
man.
of their
I'm like
congressional delegation.
stalking this
They want to put
this
Nikki Haley
dude.
on an island.
Not
And that's what they're
stalking.
going to be
I'm just
doing
like
over the
watching
next
everything
3-4
he
weeks
says.
until the South Carolina primary, if she stays in the race that long.
It is not going to be an easy race. All right, Garrett Hake, we appreciate all your reporting. We're going to
Karen,
stand
what's
by
your
with you.
handle on
And as
the
soon as the former
on
president
the
takes the
text?
stage, we are going to take you live.
On the
We do want to get you
I
updated
know
on
he
where the
really
vote
did want
stands
to
right
wrap it
now.
up.
As we
Paul, good
projected
call.
here at NBC
He
News,
really
Donald
wanted to
Trump,
wrap
the
it up.
winner of the New Hampshire
He didn't
primary.
want. He
A
did
lot of the
not
votes
want to
still
have to
coming in.
show
The
up
big
to
question
shit.
now, how big is this margin, right? It's
Okay,
grown from
he
double
did not
digits to even more than
want
that.
to
We're
show up to
about
shit.
13% right now. So we know that Donald Trump has won the New Hampshire primary, but the question tonight is, how did he win this primary? Chuck Todd is over at the big board. He's got some of the data coming in. And Chuck, during the commercial break, you were pointing something out to me. You're like, this is sort of incredible for New Hampshire, and this is actually very strong for the president, former president. What'd you see?
Well, it's the gender gap, but let me just go through the basics here, right? These were the biggest groups for him. He's defining what conservative is. He won 88% of those voters. And of course, we've been talking about this all night. About half the electorate was Republican. Well, he won 75% of half the electorate. The problem is Nikki Haley didn't win 75% of independents.
I will
right?
find
She
out
won
for
just
you when
under
his
that.
next court date
He
is.
did well with working class
No
voters, voters with incomes
problem.
under 50, and of course those without a college degree.
NBC's,
But
I
where
know.
he really,
Oh,
just
weird.
another just straight up way of seeing this is, look at this massive gender gap here. Donald Trump won men by nearly 20 points, 58%, 40, 51% was male. Now, let me show you what the female split was. Nikki Haley won it by a point.
Wow.
Okay, you can do the math.
These are female voters in the New Hampshire primary.
So, you know, this has been a problem for her. She is not,
okay, wait, I'm gonna do.
she doesn't seem to benefit from anybody voting on gender, or not benefiting enough, while Donald Trump overperforms with men in general. Some of this has been abortion rights, which is why we've seen more women
this group out. I
flock
don't know much
against the
about them.
president,
I
but
just found them, but it's
you
a
can do the
postcard
math here.
campaign.
Okay, this is why a double-digit victory now looks more likely than not.
We have talked about margins, right? And that the margins are going to matter here in New Hampshire. I'm looking up at one of the screens right now. We got 30% of the vote in. We'll pull it up here.
Yep.
And now you have 55.8, 42.6. This keeps growing as more vote comes in. Do you think that that's going to be the trend?
It is, because look, there's a ton of stuff that isn't reported here on the border of Massachusetts. And why do those towns matter? The Taxachusetts label, right, is basically former Massachusetts residents who moved across the way and no tax New Hampshire. This is always a very heavily Republican area. So for instance, just look, he's winning a place like Nashua. Nashua is a place that, frankly, Democrats usually do well in the general. This was a place she needed to win. This was always a place that John McCain's headquarters would always be in Nashua. Nashua was the heart of sort of McCain country. I was always looking at Nashua to see, and she's not winning there. And in some of these other places, his numbers are just gigantic. Sorry, these are tiny little things. Right. This is where everybody in Massachusetts has to go to buy fireworks.
This is the postcard.
It's the place you go across the border. You know, so it gives you a hint, right? Hey, live free or die.
Right.
A live free or die place
for
is
a
a
second there, I
50-point
thought
victory for
Todd
Trump.
was
That
telling
sort of
Steve, "Hey,
fits,
you can
does it
do
not?
Todd
I'm
with the
just-
Roman candle data
There you
point,
go.
which I appreciate.
Important
Right.
firework demographic.
Our crack panel is standing by. We're going to get to them in a second, but I want to bring in the moderator of Meet the Press, Kristen Welker, who joins me now. She's got some new reporting. Kristen, I know you've been working your
what was I
sources.
looking up?
You've
Oh,
had
yeah.
some conversations,
Calendar of
some
the
deep
Trump
conversations
bookmark.
with the Haley campaign. What are they telling you?
So they are defiant, just
Okay,
like
here we
Nikki
go.
Haley is defiant. They
What?
say they still have a
Oh, no, that
path.
was yesterday. We
Only
did that.
2 states have voted. It is way too early to declare this race over. Most importantly, Tom, because this is the question that I continue to put to them, how do you convince your supporters? How do you convince your donors to stay on board? They say, look, they still have a ton of cash in the bank. They say they still have the support of donors to move forward because she is
I'll tell you
marching
what's
on
going
to
on
her
this
home
week when we
state.
have a little bit of a
So
break.
that's the messaging coming out of the Haley campaign. But here's the reality check and why it does get so complicated, in part because of the numbers
Oh
that
my
Chuck
God.
just
Andrea
laid
Mitchell
out.
sucks
New
balls.
Hampshire is tailor-made for Nikki Haley because 45% of voters, according to exit
There's
polls,
a
say
few of them
that
that
they are
suck. I'm not
independents.
gonna lie.
Very few other states match that. Maybe a Massachusetts down the road. But when you think about South Carolina, where Trump has a double-digit lead, when you
Yeah.
think about
I
those
do
Super
want this.
Tuesday states,
I
the
want
math doesn't necessarily get better for her. In fact, you have larger swaths of voters who describe themselves as Republicans. And that's why it becomes more
Yeah, I don't
uphill for
know.
her.
Yeah, if you were Nikki Haley, you could say, listen, New Hampshire's going to be the
I
electorate.
was so
We're
happy for
small.
Kristen
Yes.
Welker
I
too,
did
but I
well
feel
here,
like
but as Chuck's pointed
unfortunately
out,
she got her
she did
shot
okay,
right when the
right?
network changed
That's right.
direction.
And in talking to my
You know,
sources
it's like
leading up
she's
to tonight,
disempowered.
they were
Because I was really
focused
rooting
on
for
that
her.
margin. Would she
now
be
she's
able
just
to
kind of
hold him to
milquetoast.
single digits? And that's what Governor Sununu, one of her top surrogates, has been arguing. Look, we're going to have
Governor
a strong
Sununu
finish
wants to
here.
tap
That's what they
tap
were
that.
signaling that
Okay?
they were
Can I
hoping
just
for.
be a
That
little,
would, I
you know,
think, in their opinion, have been
a little,
a
you
win.
know,
We're still waiting for the vote to come in.
a little
But
nasty.
again, if
Can I
she
just
can't
take
argue
it
that
down
she
to the
kept
gutter in
him
a minute?
to single digits,
I
it just
think
gets very
Sununu
complicated.
wants
The
to
other point that I would make is
park
that
his Big Mac truck in
let's
that little
do a
garage.
split
Is what
screen
I'm
and
saying.
check in with the Biden camp.
Kids would say.
From their perspective, it seems like the general election has begun. Today, you
Because
have
they
the
want to run against
president.
Trump, and they just
That's
put out an
right.
announcement. Yeah.
Out an announcement and a campaign shakeup,
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
which is a sign that they are seeing the red flags in the polling. They are seeing that former President Trump is incredibly competitive in some of these key states that propelled Biden to the White House. And former President Biden and his team have clearly taken a hard look at their campaign and have made the realization that they've got to get into go mode now, given this momentum that we are seeing from Trump. And by the way, just one more point I'll make. We're not just talking about
Yes.
momentum.
Oh my
We're
God.
talking about
Baby,
math too,
I think
because
it's
Trump
insane.
is racking up
I hear
delegates
because
with each
I
of these
listen
states.
to when I'm driving.
Republicans
I
and
listen
Donald
to
Trump
MSNBC on
and the
satellite
Republican
radio,
Party, how it changed since
and I swear to
2016.
God, I
Talk
think
to
you're
us about
absolutely
sort
right.
of the machine
I
that
think
Nikki
it's
Haley's
so
going to be up
confusing,
against.
very
Because some
honest.
voters out
What
there,
is it
some
called?
viewers may be saying, well, why doesn't she just stay in
Sorry,
if
I'm
she's
really
got the money?
mean.
But
I'm not the
she's
nice
going to be up against a lot more than just negative ads. There's this pressure campaign that's going to build.
It's such an important point, Tom, and we saw that today with the head of the RNC, Ronna McDaniel, putting out a statement basically saying now is a time for unity. She put that statement out before the polls had closed. We are seeing Republicans close ranks around Donald Trump. You have the endorsement by Tim Scott and the delegation from South Carolina. You have, as Garrett was just mentioning, Senator Cornyn, Deb Fisher, who've now come out and endorsed Donald Trump. But guess what else you have? You have Republicans in Biden districts starting to endorse Donald Trump. And that's a significant step, I think, in what we are seeing, this coalescing, the Republican Party really coalescing around Donald Trump. So Nikki Haley's going to be
Yeah, I know, but then they fired that
I
guy,
would just
remember?
point out,
They
look,
fired that
she's still
Chris
watching
guy,
these returns come in,
but I
as
think
we
it's,
all are. She's
I don't know,
still
something's going
watching to
on.
see
Something's
what the
weird.
final tally
I don't know
is
what
going
it
to be.
is. I
Ron
can't explain it.
DeSantis did the
Mini
same
strokes? Is
thing
that what they're called?
last week, and then he looked at a lot
Mini
of polling
strokes.
and had
I
some
can't
hard
remember.
conversations. So
See,
we'll have to see what happens as we
I
get
can't
closer
remember
to
what I
South
just
Carolina,
said.
because if she
It's getting
loses in
bad.
her
I gotta
home
see my.
state,
I'm
Tom,
seeing
it's
my
one thing
site.
to lose in New Hampshire. If she
Early
loses
next
in her
month.
home
But I
state,
gotta see like
that
the
could
doctor.
potentially jeopardize her political future if she has aspirations for 2020.
If she gets booked on Meet the Press for Sunday and then suddenly cancels, we know
Yeah, he got fired.
That's the tail side. Don't think we haven't asked already.
I have no idea.
So welcome. Always great to have you.
Sexual harassment.
Republican Congressman and Trump supporter Mike Collins of Georgia joins us now from the Trump campaign headquarters. Representative, explain this to me, right? If we all believe in democracy, we all love democracy, why don't we let the process play out? Why shouldn't Nikki Haley stay in this race as long as she can?
Well, I think it's we need to go ahead and just close this thing down now and get on to the general election. It's very important that we stop
It's fucking January,
primary
bitch.
that you have no
It's your
chance
fucking,
in.
it's your
She's not going to
rush,
win
babe.
she's not going to be the nominee. She
It's
has no
your
chance
rush.
of winning, and especially if she can't even get close to New Hampshire, where it is a more liberal state. She is the more liberal candidate in this primary. She's not going to carry South Carolina. She's not going to carry Nevada. So why keep going through the motions when we could get a good head start on making sure that we turn out the vote in November
exactly.
and get President
They,
Trump
they
back
act,
in the White
they
House?
have to, okay, you know what it's like?
Concerned? I mean,
It's
even in your
like
home state, right?
when
the
dead
president has been
bodies
indicted for
have
election
like a,
interference, right? He has more than 90 criminal counts against
oh
him.
no,
Are
Karen,
you
we
worried that
didn't.
you may
Wait,
have a candidate
did anyone get
who
to the
can't
bottom of
even
the gremlins?
run
And she's
or
talking about
has been
Ivan Reitman.
convicted?
He had some kind of leg injury. He said the
Not one
incident
bit.
happened Friday and
You
he
know,
signed up on
Donald
Friday
Trump
so
was
he can
loved
go
in this
exercise
country
with
up
his
until the
kids.
point where
Yeah,
he
he's in the
became
hospital.
president and
He's in the
started
hospital.
implementing great
Oh,
America First
baby,
agenda
I'm so
policies.
sorry. Yes,
And the deep
walk the
state
dog.
decided we need to get rid of this guy. We'll
Breathe.
do it any way we can.
And
These are
later
all
on,
bogus charges.
unfortunately, what
I
I'm
think
reading is not
everybody's
really
even
a good
seeing now
bedtime
that
story, so
the
don't
wheels are
probably
falling
tune in
off the
later on
bus
because
fast
that's
on
going
that
to
case
upset
down
you
in
as well
Georgia,
because we're
to the
talking
point
about
to where
Nazis
you
in
may
America.
have
So
an
don't
indictment
listen
on
to
Fannie
tonight's
Willis
bedtime
and the
story.
prosecutor for
But
what they've
know
been
that
doing.
I send
Yeah,
you
it's
off
unclear if there'll be an
to a beautiful
indictment against them,
bubble
but we know
of good
they're now
energy.
obviously being
We are going to
investigated. That's
win.
trying to be figured out down there in
Going to
Georgia.
win.
As this race
Voting rights are
continues,
going to win.
would you put pressure on Nikki Haley? I mean, vocally on social
Universal health
media,
care is going to
is
win.
that going to be necessary, or should you guys at least wait
Boosted
till
public
South Carolina and see
education is
what
going to
happens there?
win.
You know, I would hope
We are
that
going to win
Nikki Haley takes the
because
opportunity
it's the
tomorrow
right
while she's
thing
in
to
South
do.
Carolina to
So
go ahead and set her speech
it's
up
okay,
and
baby.
get
It's
out of the
well,
race
I mean, I won't tell
and
you
get
it's going to be
behind
okay,
and
but
put
I'll
her
do
support
whatever
behind
I
Donald
can.
Trump tomorrow,
Just know
and
that
then we get this thing closed out.
we're
And we
here.
move
Oops,
on with President
just
Trump as being our nominee, which he will be at the end of the day,
Biden is
and
winning.
get
That's
started
right.
on our
Breathing,
general
breathing.
election.
Walk that beautiful puppy.
You know, the
Walk that beautiful
Biden-Harris
puppy.
re-election team has put out a
Yeah.
statement essentially
I'll see
saying
you
and
when I see
agreeing
you,
with you
baby.
that
Love you.
the results tonight
I'm
confirm
glad you
Donald
came.
Trump
Thanks for
has
coming.
all but locked up the GOP nomination. That's a direct quote. Why do you think the
70%.
Democrats want to run
Wow,
so
Max.
badly
Oh,
against
he's
former President Trump
I'm so
if President
sorry,
Trump can beat
Max.
Biden, in your
Sending
opinion?
love.
Well, I don't know what their reasoning would be since I'm clearly
Sending
not in
lots of
the
love
Democrat
to you,
camp. But I can tell you
Thank
what the
you.
American people want.
She's not a
And they
baby, but
want
she's a
back
baby.
what they had during that Trump administration
Yeah.
and those policies
It's a
that
pretty good odds.
had this economy in this
I
country
like
humming
those
like a
odds.
sewing machine. They want back that border security that we had down there on the southern border,
I hope
and
everything.
they want back that peace through strength that we had with our military. It is so
Oh, is
obvious,
that?
and
That's
people
their
across this
strength.
country. You know, we've been out there. I was in Ohio last week. We came up here today, and we have just been out among the motoring public just to see what the issues are and what the concerns
Oh,
that
a
they
question,
have.
Matt.
And those
Survival
are
of
the
the
exact
procedure that they
concerns.
have to have, or
The American people want to get back what they had during the Trump administration. And come November, yeah, we're going to do that. We're
oh,
going to take our country
I'm
back.
telling you. And my
All right,
sister
Representative, we
also
appreciate your time.
tends
Thank
to
you for
have
joining
cats
our
that live
coverage
very
of the New
long,
Hampshire
and she's
primary.
like the.
Joining me now is Republican
She
strategist
is.
Sarah
If I
Fagan
came back
and
as a
Robert
cat, I
Gibbs,
would want to
former
belong
press
to my
secretary
sister
for
because she
President
will
Obama and an NBC News
do
analyst. And
all the
mentioned, I
intravenous
think, a
stuff.
host
She'll
of
do
Hacks
everything
on Tap,
for
right?
cats.
One of the largest
And
growing
just like
podcasts in
make their
America,
lives so
possibly.
beautiful. Like she's
Sarah, I'm
really.
going to start with you.
I love her.
You work in the Republican Party. You've consulted Republicans.
Max says it's an
Tonight's
advanced
results.
gallbladder
Does Nikki Haley
infection.
need to drop out, or
Wow.
should she continue to fight another day?
Wow.
Well, I think she doesn't have to drop out. I think, as has been
Biden
talked
will win. The
about
voluntary
tonight,
support for the narrative
there's
wrestling
a
will win.
hard
Yeah,
path
I
for
think you're
her.
right.
There doesn't appear to be a
You've
path for her
not
to
heard a
accumulate
positive, is what you're
delegates
saying.
needed to win
Well, I
based
think
on
they
these
can. I've
results
heard
and
positive
based on the
gallbladder
presumption that
stories.
she's not going to do well
I've heard
in South
positive.
Carolina. But
I hope with
look,
surgery.
I think if you were making an argument
I still think those are
to
good
her to
odds,
stay
and
in
they're
the race,
they're
you would
being
say
conservative.
you've got a 77-year-old
That's right. I think
likely
I knew
Republican
that. I
nominee
don't
with
know
a
why.
lot of legal challenges before him.
I
You
still
have
have.
an
I don't want to
81-year-old
talk about
incumbent
gallbladder,
president.
because then somebody's
The
going to get
odds of that
gallbladder.
being the case on election day, those two people,
Who are you?
being the
Sarah Fagan,
nominees, like,
GOP strategist. How can you sleep at
perhaps
night,
that's,
Sarah?
80%, but it's not 100%. And so
Oh,
why
you
not
did?
just stay
Oh my
in and
God.
see what happens and accumulate some delegates? And I
I
think,
don't
you know,
want
that's certainly an argument
invoke
that
the
I
bad
hear being made, you know, in the Republican
I gotta
Party
find
in
a
some
nicer
corners.
bedtime
Robert, you know,
story,
we saw
right?
a
Like we have to
campaign
have a
shakeup, if you
balance
will, with the
of,
Biden-Harris reelect team
you know,
tonight.
nonfiction.
The economy
Oh, not
numbers
insensitive at all.
moving in
No,
favor
no,
of
Ivan,
President
not
Biden. But
insensitive
there's
at
one thing
all.
you can
It's, you
change,
know,
right?
it's
Which
just
poll after poll
experience.
shows voters are really
It's
concerned
just
about, even
experience.
Democratic
And it
voters,
just
and
depends
that's Joe
on the
Biden's age.
situation. And
How does a campaign
no,
like
I know.
his get over that fact? And how can you still show the American people that he
Because you
still
can say
has,
anything and be,
you know,
yeah,
several
this is
years
true.
left in him to run this country?
Because you do have
Well,
to.
they're just going to have to show it each and every day in the
I can't
campaign.
stand
They're
this
going to have to go out there. He's going to have to prosecute the case. He's going to have energetic
kind of like
events.
the
People are going to need to see him. I hope you'll see debates in the fall.
of the
They're
Democrats.
just going to have to project through this campaign that he's capable of doing this job.
Why
He's not
does
going to get any
all of
younger.
the
Neither is Donald Trump. In terms of what happened in the
Did I turn
campaign, I think it was a smart
the sound
decision.
down or
Look, you
off?
had
Oh,
two
sorry.
of
You
President
know what? I
Biden's
can't
most senior
actually.
and trusted aides in the White House.
Because frankly, if you really want to know what these talking heads are saying, you can read it on the screen. And otherwise, you'll listen to the songs that I will sing you. And that will be the way until the dump comes on the stage and we get to see the clowns he raised. The dog has already survived Lyme disease and resultant kidney. She is tough. Oh my gosh. She is tough. Yeah, much better. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be anything earth shattering until, well, and even when he speaks. It is important to know media literacy. It is important to know media literacy. Yeah, the big story is Nikki Haley says, no, not today, Satan. I'm in it to win it. She is in good hands. Absolutely. She is in good hands. Oh, I can see her now, Max. I can see that picture you sent. It's lovely. The baby. Oh, please, mister, please. Don't play B-17. It was our song, it was his song. But it's over. Please, mister, please. If you know what I mean, I don't ever want to hear that song again. Yeah, so I think I'm going to take you guys on a drive tomorrow. So I may not do the hot tub time machine in the morning. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then Wizzy Satan is going to be, come on, Nikki. Come on, darling Nikki. Come on, darling Nikki. Come on, darling Nikki. Spend a little time with me. Good idea, Wizzy Satan. You get in there. You get in there, dude. You work it. Oh, so let me say, I might take you guys on a drive tomorrow. I'm driving down into Orange County for an appointment. And I think it's going to be a really pretty drive. And if it's as pretty as it was today with the clear skies, it'll be just gorgeous. Oh, yeah. Next court case. Shites. Okay. Well, Thursday is Jeffrey Clark. And there's some motions due also on Thursday from his case. Hold on. All right. So Thursday, January 25th, Clark, hearing at 2 p.m. Eastern on Jeffrey Clark motion to compel. We're going to be live for that. In the Mar-a-Lago case, defendants' replies due to government response to defendants' consolidated motion to compel discovery. So there's some replies due on Thursday. Friday, D.C. Trump case. The D.C. Circuit may issue a merits decision in the Trump presidential immunity and double jeopardy appeal on or before this date. Wah! Sorry. Okay, wait. Sorry. Oh, he's not even talking.
Endorsed Trump and been on the stage with him and so excited to get behind him.
Wait,
and
who's
you
that?
wonder
Oh, it's
what
Dan
is
Scavino.
sort of the calculation between a lot
Well,
of these
I have a
guys,
calendar.
these surrogates who are coming by and
Yeah, we're going to
endorsing
be
Trump
live
now. How many
Thursday
of them are thinking about, possibly we
with
have
little
a chance to
Jeffrey
be
Clark
a running
boxer
mate
boy.
here. The
Yep,
rest of the
we're
Trump
gonna see
team
what
coming
kind of
together here. We've seen
boxers
Jason
are bringing
Miller,
Jeffrey.
Dan
What's he going to
Scavino,
fit on
others who have been
Thursday?
in Trump's circle for a long time. Of course, his son Eric Trump is
So
right
11
there.
a.m.
And it sounds like former President Trump at any moment will take the stage, but
Still
he's
the
enjoying the song.
day. Oh, I tell you I don't love
and
this
we'll listen for a second.
man. I bought you a bed. I'm not proud to be a Mexican because I come from a country town. And I tried to set secret, but it takes something because I tell you right now.
Next to you and defend her still today. Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
Oh, you don't love this way. Wanna not go to jail. Okay, who's on the stage? This is important. What the fuck is he doing? Oh, wait,
Well, I
Eric
want to thank
Stapel.
everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a
Has
great,
one day to
great
rest.
state. You know, we won New Hampshire
Explosive arm.
3 times now.
The
3.
triple button makeup. Oh my god. Old makeup.
We win it
You
every
can.
time. We win the primary. We
don't.
win the
Just keep it
generals. We've won it, and it's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. If you remember, in 2016, we came here and we needed that win, and we won by 21 points, and it was
No,
great.
you can't. Keep it muted.
And
you can read
today,
it.
I have to tell you, it was very interesting because
I'm not
I said,
saying
wow, what a
anything.
great victory.
I'm
But
not
then
saying
somebody
anything
ran
good.
up to the stage all dressed up nicely when it was at 7, but now I just walked up and it's at 14.
What is he
She ran
talking
up
about?
when it was 7.
Yeah, the hand's over.
And, you know, we have to do what's good for our party.
Hey,
And she was
gal.
up
What
and
if
I
he
said,
doesn't
wow,
win
she's
after it's all
doing
counted?
like a speech like she won. She didn't win. She lost. And, you know.
Oh, yeah, he was real mad about how she got in her.
Week, we
She
had a
felt
little bit of a
herself when it
problem.
came
And
to
if you
Iowa.
remember, Ron was very upset because she ran up and she pretended she won Iowa. And I looked around, I said, didn't she come in third? Yeah, she came in third. And then I looked at the polls. She was talking about most winnability, who's going to win. And I had one put up. I don't know if you see it.
More
but I had one
massive
put up.
dumps.
We've won almost every
Massive
single
dumps.
poll in the last 3
Massive
months
dumps. That would
against
be great.
Joe Biden. Almost every poll. And she
More,
doesn't
wouldn't that be
win those
great?
polls.
Like if there was a bunch of dumps and Joe Biden actually won.
She doesn't win this. This is not your typical victory speech, but let's not have somebody take a victory when she had a very bad night. She had a very bad night. And you have the now very unpopular governor of this state. This guy, he's got to be on something. I've never seen anybody with energy.
What?
He's like hopscotch. And
fuck?
you know, I'm watching this guy, and 2 weeks ago, I said,
I know.
we're going to win.
I don't
We're
want to
gonna
make
win
fun
in
of Tim
Atlanta. We're gonna
Scott's
win. About
mouth.
3 days ago,
I
I
can't
started
help
saying,
that.
well, we want to
I don't like Tim Scott's
well.
politics. I don't need to make
That's a
fun
big
of anything
difference.
else except for his fucking
But I walked
politics.
out just now. We're 14 points up,
I
and
can't
I don't know
stand
what it's
him.
going to
I
be.
don't
But
even
when she
know what
was
the
up
fuck
here,
he's
it was
talking
like 6 or
about.
7. And, you know, with
I don't
like
know what he's even talking about.
7% of the vote count.
Dummy. Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
let me
He's
just
a
tell
dummy.
you, we had an unbelievable week
His
last week.
consolation is
in
how bad it
Iowa.
went. Yeah,
We set
exactly.
a record.
It's not about how well he did.
It was the best in the history of the caucus, in the history.
He is a
And
dummy. He's
I
just like
remember I sort of
sold
had the same
himself
feeling.
out. I just don't
I'm
even
up
get
and
it.
I'm watching.
I get wanting
And I
power.
said, she's taking a victory
He's
lap.
smarter
And
than
we
that.
beat her so badly. She was.
Although I don't understand, his
Ron beat her
girlfriend's
also.
really
You know,
fucking
Ron
weird.
came in second.
Okay, he
and
used
he
to sell
left.
this green
She
juice
came
on
in third,
PVC.
and she's
I'm
still
not
hanging
shooting you.
around.
He's a fucking nut
The other
job.
thing, she only got 25%
She
of
is
the
a
Republican
fucking
votes. I
nut
don't know if you
job.
saw that. Tremendous
She's like a
numbers
trophy
of
wife.
independents came out
That's what
because
she's like.
in this
But she's
state, because you
weird.
have a
She's kind of
governor that
fucked up in
doesn't
the
frankly
head.
know what the hell he's
Like,
doing.
you know what
In
she's
this
like?
state,
She's like one of those
in the
kombucha
Republican
ladies in
primary,
LA.
they
She's like
accept
blonde,
Democrats
wearing
to
her
vote. In fact, I
Lululemon, and
think
she
they had
goes into
4,000
Whole Foods or Erewhon,
Democrats before
buys
October
kombucha.
6th. They already voted.
You know what I mean? She's like
Now
one of
they're
those.
only voting
Really
because they
weird.
want to make me look
Way
as
too much
bad as
money.
possible.
She's
Because
got a
if you
lot of money.
remember, we won in 2016. And if you really remember, and if you want to play it straight,
I know.
we also won in 2020.
But why is the guy from South Carolina standing behind him? Why? Because he wants to be the vice president. That's why.
2020 than we
He
did
actually
in
thinks
2016.
that Trump will make
But
him
as they
vice
said,
president.
we lost by a whisker.
Now he
just by
may.
a whisker.
If Tim
No. But we can't let that
proves
happen.
that he
You know,
can
you
be a
have to have
good
people that
citizen
speak up. I said,
and
I
not
can go up
question,
and I can say to everybody, "Oh, thank you for the victory.
it
It's
is the next
wonderful. It's
primary
or I
state,
can
and
go
she's
up
not
and
going to
say,
win it.
who the
I
hell
don't
was the
think.
imposter
So I
that
think she's
went
going to
up on
drop
the
out
stage
before.
and like claimed a victory? She did very poorly, actually. She had to win.
Yeah.
The governor said she's going to win. She's going to win. She's going to win. Then she failed badly. Now I have here, if he promises to do it in a minute or less.
Yeah, then South Carolina's
But
next.
the
It's
only
like February
person
24th
more
or
angry
something.
than, let's say
Somewhere
me,
late
but
in
I don't get
February.
too angry. I get even.
So she's got
The
time
only
to keep money.
person-
None of them have ended their campaign. They've just suspended. Someone was saying this morning on the news
Because he was there,
that they
and he did
suspended their campaign
fantastically
so
well,
that when
by the way,
he's,
it really
whatever,
impressed me.
they're
And we
gonna
don't have to talk about
they can
Tim
free
Scott,
up
who,
their
by the way,
campaigns.
just
They're
got
not getting rid of
engaged.
all
We
their
have to tell
campaign
you.
stuff. Which I thought was interesting.
And that's more important than all of this stuff.
That's right. The
But a man that got
Santos
to
is
know
there,
her
by the
very
way.
well
For those of you
is
who've joined us
Vivek.
late,
I
Santos is
said,
in the room.
Vivek. I said,
Oh, there's
Vivek.
Vivek.
Go
My
up and
favorite.
say a few words about it. He has to do it in 1 minute or less. And then we're going to just say, we had one hell of a night tonight. And one other thing before Vivek comes.
Is
Do
he
you
gonna
see
make
that
him
poll? We're
VP?
going to put it up. We have beaten Biden. You could almost say, who can't? Who the hell can't? The man can't put two sentences together. He can't find the stairs.
No, but he puts
off
together a
the
hell of an
stage.
infrastructure
Who can't?
package.
But Vivek, 1 minute or less. Go do it, Vivek.
Oh,
What we
here's his
saw
audition.
tonight
I know, I
is
guess not.
America first defeating America last. That's what we saw tonight. If you want America last, you can go to Joe Biden. You got another candidate still apparently in the Republican primary. Cut your Social Security to fork over more money to Ukraine so some kleptocrat can buy a bigger house. Go to Nikki Haley. But you know who delivered a double-digit victory tonight? It is a double-digit victory as of right now. Is this man, Donald J. Trump, the leader of America first? And that means something. Now, USA and Donald Trump, America first. Now, I got 30 seconds left. I want to make this point.
Oh, I know. I read those. Actually, Gal, I read those.
What we
It
see
is
right now
audition
with her
time.
continuing
Now
in
they've
this
all got to
race
get.
is
They've
the
got a
ugly
minute.
underbelly of American politics, where the mega donors are trying to do one thing when we, the people, say another. And it's up to us, we, the people, to at long last say, hell no. We, the people, create a government that is
He's a real
accountable
dick.
to us. And
He
we, the
thinks
people,
that
have
single
said tonight,
women,
we want,
single
again,
mothers,
as we did
need
in
a man in
Iowa,
the home. And
Donald
that's the
J.
problem. One of the
Trump. And so
problems
you
in this
want to
country
actually speak
is
truth.
that we pay
That's the
women
truth
to
tonight.
not have a man in
And
the
the
home.
only
He
thing they're
fucking
rooting
said
for-
that. It's in my video. I have a video capturing
New
it.
Hampshire. Things took a little bit of a
He's
weird
fucking
turn.
crazy.
He gave over the podium to Vivek
He is
Ramaswamy,
fucking
who then proceeded
crazy.
to
Now I
attack
wanted to
Nikki
hear
Haley and
Vivek,
go after
you
her pretty
idiot.
aggressively. A couple quick fact checks here. The former president said that he's won every single New Hampshire election he's been in, which is not true, including general elections. He also said Nikki Haley doesn't beat Joe Biden in the polls. That is also not true. Nikki Haley has beaten the president in several polls. I want to go to Tara right now. Tara, Vivek was just talking about the ugly side of politics. We were having a conversation talking about the viciousness and how bad it'll get. When will it start? The former president took the stage, and he pretty much the only thing he talked about was Nikki Haley.
Sorry.
Our country. And I'm
I get it. You hate it.
talking about millions and millions and millions. They are drug dealers. They're everybody. And they come in just like walking right through. There's nobody to check and there's nobody to vet. And we have a man with us tonight, Tom Homan, who is central casting. He's central casting. And I'd like you to say a few words about the border and who's going to solve that problem and how quick are we going to do it, Tom? Go ahead, please.
Tom Homan.
Look, I worked for 6 presidents, starting around Reagan, and every president I ever worked for did something to secure the border. But no one did more than President Trump. The most secure border in my lifetime. The most secure border we've ever seen. And Donald Trump's going to do it again. We're going to lock the border down. And we're going to protect Americans, because what's happening at the border right now, a record number of Americans have died from fentanyl poisoning. Record number of migrants have died. A record number of women and children have sex trafficked. A record number of known suspected terrorists across the border. There's one man who's proven he can secure the border, and he's standing to my left, Donald J. Trump. He's going to do it again.
This is his cabinet.
Thank you very much, Tom. So this is an evening that I will not forget because it's the third time. But more importantly, I think it's going to be the most important time. We won both.
That's right.
I think somebody said you rarely, if you win both, they've never had a loser. Let me put it that way. When you win Iowa and you win New Hampshire, they've never had a loss. There's never been. So we're not going to be the first, I can tell you. And I just do want to reiterate the polls. We're way up on everybody. We're way up on Biden. And over the last couple of months, if you check, and you have to remember, in 2016, they were saying, oh, what does he know about elections? He's not going to win. He can't win. He can't. Well, we won.
Good news.
And we got millions, and you can check this, and I hope the cameras don't turn off because they hate this, but we got millions and millions of more votes the second time. Right, Mr. Congressman? Millions and millions of more votes. And but we had COVID, and they used COVID to cheat, and they did a lot of other things too. We're not going to let that happen. And that's still going along. We don't forget. You can never forget history, because if you forget, you never recover from it, and you repeat, and we're not going to repeat. We're going to have the greatest election success. We're going to turn our country around. And if you take a look throughout the history of our country, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of this not great country right now, it's a country in decline. It's a troubled country. It's a failing country, frankly. But if you took the 10 worst presidents and put them together.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
The 10 worst, absolutely 10 worst. I used to say 5. Remember, I'd say 5. Then I said, wait a minute, we can add another 5. They would not have done the damage
we need to make sure that
crooked Joe Biden has done to our wonderful country. They would not have done the damage. There's never been anything like it. Yeah. And you say, are they stupid people? I don't think so, because nobody can cheat that well if they're stupid. Do they hate our country? They must hate our country, because there's no other reason that they can be doing the things they do. Take a look.
She wants to survive.
The taxes, they want to raise your taxes times 4. They want to let the Trump tax cuts, the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, they want them to expire. Your taxes are going to go through the roof. You take a look at regulations. They're throwing regulations. You can't breathe. You can't even breathe with what they're doing. You take a look at our border. So bad. There's never been a border like this in the world. 4 years ago, we had the safest, best border in the United States. I built hundreds of miles of border wall. And they would say, oh, he didn't build hundreds of miles, because if there's a board laying on the ground, they say that's a renovation. They call it a renovation. If there's 2 nails laying from 50 years ago, they say, oh, that was a renovation. These are very dishonest people, and you're always fighting them. And just a little note to Nikki.
There is no empire, sir.
She's not going to win.
They have no money left.
But if she did,
House of Cards,
she would be under investigation by those people in 15 minutes. And I could tell you 5 reasons why already. Not big reasons.
About to be owned.
A little stuff that she doesn't want to talk about. But she will be under investigation within minutes. And so would Ron have been. But he decided to get out. He decided to get out. Now, Vivek, I don't think would be at all, because he's perfect, right?
He's good.
And Tim Scott, I know would never. That's no chance. Hey, Tim, do you want to say something? Come on. I want him to say something.
Yeah, I think
New Hampshire. The president said a double-digit win in New Hampshire, and you delivered a double-digit win for President Trump. But I'm going to invite you to my home state, starting tomorrow, where this election is over. It is time for the Republican Party to coalesce around our nominee and the next president of the United States, Donald Trump. Let's get that party started tonight.
So, Keenan, do you think Biden legitimately won in 2020? Among Trump voters, yes, 17%, no, 8%.
What a good man he
Among
is.
Hillary voters,
But just
yes,
remember, I did
83%.
hear
Wow,
Nikki
that's
say,
so
and now
different.
it's off to South Carolina.
so
Well, I love South Carolina.
All right.
I love it. But, you know, she forgot one thing. She
Shake
forgot one thing.
over the internet.
Next week, it's Nevada. Next week, it's Nevada. It's not South Carolina. We love South
That's
Carolina,
all
but
they've
next
got.
week, it's Nevada.
It's all he's
And I'm
got.
pleased to announce we
That's
just
all they
won Nevada. We just won 100%. Because all of them, they looked at it and they took polls, and I was polling at 95% to 4 or 5%, and they decided not to play in Nevada. So we just won Nevada. We have a man from Nevada here, Steve Wynn, wherever he may be, and John Paulson, the great John Paulson, make plenty of money in Nevada. Doesn't live there, but he makes a hell of a lot of money. He makes money everywhere he goes, actually. So money machine. Maybe we'll put you, you know what? Put him at Treasury. You want to make a little money? Let's put you. Anyways, good to have you guys. But we go to Nevada, and that's been one. So we pick up all of those delegates. And then we do go to South Carolina, where we've done really well, where I've done well. We have a great governor and lieutenant governor and great everything, because almost every one of them have endorsed me. 2 great senators, which is hard. I mean, did you ever think that?
He does. No, I mean, Tim Scott's
actually
good at what he
appointed
does,
you, Tim?
okay? Tim Scott is definitely, to me,
Think of it,
someone who is
appointed, and you're the senator of his
making
state,
a
and
deliberate choice.
she endorsed me.
I think
You
Tim
must
Scott
really
is making
hate
a
her.
deliberate choice, knowing that he's got to play the game.
No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
But I mean, it's like, I don't even
love you. No, that's why he's a great politician. That's why he's a great politician. So this is a great evening, and it is, you know, we are going to Nevada for a little while. We're not going to have to do too much. We have a great team there.
I can tell Tim's
But it's a
not,
team
his
that
heart's not
we
in
can now
this.
send someplace
Tim is
else.
not-
They
his
did a
heart is not
fantastic
in
job, but
He's doing what he has
and
to
it's a fantastic
to have
place,
some kind
really a
of career.
fantastic place.
I'm
But
telling you right now,
we'll be
that
leaving there
girlfriend
very
is
quickly. We'll head out to South Carolina, where I think
normal
we're going to win easily. I think we're 50 points up, 5-0.
worried about Tim Scott.
5-0, 50 points up on a person that was governor. That tells you something. But I felt I should do this because I find in life you can't let people get away with bullshit. Okay, you can't. You just can't do that. And when I watched her in the fancy dress, it probably wasn't so fancy, come up, I said, "What's she doing? We won." And she did the same thing
Did he
last
just talk
week.
about her dress?
But he was much more angry about it than I was. I said, "Get up there and you let him know. We are going to win this. We have no choice. If we don't win, I think our country is finished. I do. I believe our country is finished. We have an opportunity to do something so amazing. And the good news, and the reason we have such support, the best numbers I've ever had, the reason we have support is because they are so bad at what they're doing and so evil, and they're destroying our country. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank this group of people. We will never forget you. We will never forget. And I made a pledge.
Weird and fucking creepy.
I made a pledge to your state that you have the highest energy costs in the country. In the first year, they're going to be reduced by 50% because we are going to drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. Inflation's going to come way down.
People that like the
But
land up
in
there in New
the
Hampshire.
first year, your energy costs are going down by 50%. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. We'll see you on the trail. And thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
That's kind of whatever.
We will see you on the trail. Thanks.
Goodbye. Nobody cares. You're an idiot. All right. Well, oops, hold on. Shut up down. Oh my God, Marjorie Taylor Greene's on the stage too. Wow. Wow. All right. Well, there it is then. Snickers definitely did some good kind of like I don't like her. She's a fucking horrible, demonic, bigoted, idiotic cuck, simp, idiot. But at least she made him a little uncomfortable tonight. And I am, if anybody can make these fascists feel uncomfortable, I fully support it. Marge the bounty hunter. Like Badger. Yeah, Marge looks like a bounty hunter. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. I moved away from it very quickly, but it wasn't really all that intense. She's been following. I know. Well, there's nothing else for them. This is the wagon to which they have hooked their star. And I will say it again. Well, she kind of looks like Dog. I used to watch Dog the Bounty Hunter. I feel embarrassed to say that, but I used to watch it. I liked Beth, although she was, I mean, their politics were horrible. They were horrible conservatives. But I liked Beth's kind of like attitude. She does look like Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'm sorry, not sorry. She really does. I mean, really, she does. Okay. But she's not Dog. But she should marry him. Although I guess she's boinking Tintin. Tintin, remember from earlier in the broadcast, is looking quite like he needs a spray tan real bad. I know there's spray tan shit up in New Hampshire. I don't know what his problem was. She really does. She's got the hair, like, right? Like the over bleached blonde hair. We all know what our hair does when we bleach it too much. It gets like straw. Blur, blur, blur. I am so glad that you agree. I'm sorry. There was something about Beth that just kind of. Oh my God. I didn't watch that yet. I just saw it because I just went into email Ivan. I'll take a look at that. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Is it something I can show on stream? Let me see if I can get to it. Hold on. Okay. Well, anyway, while I'm here, I'm going to talk about the court schedule. Okay. So blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Okay. So let me just say what happened today. So in Maine, in the 14th Amendment case, for today, memorandum shall be filed with the Maine. Oh, here, I'll share this thing. I don't know why I'm just reading it to you. That's kind of dumb. That's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. Okay. This is the, let me give you a link to this. This is justsecurity.org. Excellent website. Excellent website. A clearinghouse of Trump trials. Lots on the Russia-Ukraine. A really good website. Really informative. Very fucking informative. Okay. Has all this stuff, all this good stuff. Anyway, I'll put this link in. Let me do that before I forget, because I will forget. Okay. I know it looks like it's funny. She does have a long face. Yeah, she does. She really does have the long face. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, I will definitely pull it up. But in the meantime, before I do that, stay with me. Okay. So we've got do. All right. So then in the Maine 14th Amendment, the memorandum had to be filed with the judicial court by 4 p.m. by appellant, the Secretary of State, may be filed by other parties, showing cause why the appeal against the Superior Court order remanding the case should be dismissed as interlocutory, and last day for all parties to file briefs and appendices with the clerk of the Maine Supreme Judicial Court and the Maine Secretary. Okay, so that's that. This is what we're going to be watching, so get in there and put that fucking notification on, god damn it. Let's start treating this like a fucking serious YouTube channel, for crying out loud. I'm just kidding. I don't mean to yell at you. On Thursday at 11 a.m., 2 p.m. in the East Coast, Jeffrey Clark, Boxer Boy, is going to be back in court. And then Mar-a-Lago case, the defendant's replies are due to the government response to the consolidated motion to compel discovery. So this is all about the discovery, because the defendants in the Mar-a-Lago documents case were saying that the government has stuff they haven't turned over, and the government's like, no, we turned over everything. So Friday. Oh, this is exciting. DC Circuit may issue their decision in the Trump presidential immunity, and we're really waiting for that. We're kind of on waiting for that. Trump, Colorado, SCOTUS. Last day on the 14th Amendment. Last day for any motion on Monday pertaining to the February 8th oral argument. We do have that on our calendar too. You guys got to go in. I've set these things up. Come on now. Doing my best. No, I'm just kidding. I'm I'm just being silly. Anyway, last day for any motion pertaining to the February 8th oral argument. And then in Massachusetts, which also, lest we forget, has a 14th Amendment, State Ballot Law Commission must render its decision on objections filed to remove Trump from the state's ballot. So Massachusetts will have a decision next week too. The 30th, Illinois 14th Amendment case. Holy shit. They're going to be voting. Oh boy, it's going to get real ugly, real weird, but it's all good. This is called governance. All right. And then in Wednesday, last day for respondents. Let's see. NY civil fraud Judge Engoron to file a written decision. So that's Wednesday. Mar-a-Lago sealed ex parte hearing with government in advance. And that's a closed hearing, so we won't be able to see it. Oh, here we go. We get to see this. Yes, bitch. Well, I got to set up something for this because I didn't have this on my calendar. All right, Friday, February, we're going to do this. I better copy that. Hold on. What? Oh, it arrived. I got to go down and get the groceries. Oh, all right. Thank you. Oh, God, I have the best daughter in the whole fucking world. Okay. So on February 2nd, we will have this. We'll find out if that's going to be a thing. Oh, wait. Actually, no, that's not a thing. Sorry. I missed. Oh, this is the response. Okay. The response to the case where Mike Roman, who's one of the defendants, and actually, if you haven't read about Mike, has amazing shit about Mike Roman. And I've missed so much of the chat. I'm so sorry. Let me check in with chat for a second. Yes, she's trashy and funny looking, but you don't have to go there. Wait, you mean Marge? Yeah, I mean, she's pretty evil. I don't know. Oops, wait. Val slid into the lounge quietly about an hour ago, just listening to the hubbub. Heard you're doing a drive tomorrow, but doesn't Trump testify tomorrow? But we don't get to see that, right? Do we get to see that? I think so too. Oh, I don't know. Now I have to, but if that happens, I'm not taking the drive till the afternoon. I think Alina gave him the Rona. He does look terrible. I think he's definitely sick. Alina isn't sick. Well, she probably took some stuff, like if you take Paxlovid, I took Paxlovid when I got COVID and I felt better like the same day. It really is an amazing. Oh, thanks, Peace Love. I'm glad you're here. In his victory speech, Trump hails Steve Wynn, the casino mogul who paid $10 million to settle an investigation that started with allegations of what the fuck. There's a click from David and David Korn, DC. Thank you, gal. Former finance chair of RNC who stepped down because of that case. Oh, is that what that is, Max? I don't know much about that case. Project Lincoln status. Okay, hold on. I got to get those. Hold on. They don't really show up for me. Hold on. Well, that's not going to work. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know much about that case. I got to figure that out. Hold on. Hold on to your love. You got to hold on. Hold on to your love. You got to hold on, and don't let go. Okay, let's start. Hold on. Meep, mop, moop, meep, mop, moopin'. We're meeping and mopping and mooping. Okay, this is one of the links that Gal shared with us. In his victory speech, Trump hails Steve Wynn, the casino mogul who paid $10 million to settle an investigation that started with allegations of sexual misconduct. Is this what you wanted me to read, Gal? Steve Wynn's such a fucking roach. Decline. I don't want it. Wait, let me come back so I'm not missing communication here. Wynn is scum. Oh, don't play that one. Just sharing. Okay. All right, will do. Yes, please tap the like. Smushy the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And share the broadcast, although we're probably going to be done pretty soon. Yeah, let me go back to this. Actually, let me go. No, the river valley and the cowboy who loved me so true. Oh, I would. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, here we are. Lolo, live free or pie. That's you guys. That's us. All right. Thank you, my love. Thank you so much. Love you. Smooch you too. Sorry, just opening a diet soda. All right, here we go. Let me go to the tweet. Oh, that's not today. He is a weak Joe Trippy. Wait, hold on. Let me go to let me go back to checking Gal. Oh my God, Gal, you are a font of information. Gal, what is that? Interesting. Oh my God, now I want to go to it. Thank you, everyone. Oh, you're welcome, Rip. All right, no worries. Gal Trump. Trump equals clickbait. Trump equals eyeballs. Yeah, 100%. We've got to deal with them. We've got to deal with, no, what we have to deal with is the passion for demagoguery in this country. We have to go more for root cause than personality, right? Who cares who the person is? The intent of this group of individuals who have propped up a demagogue, who have said, okay, right? That's great. Let's see. Oh my gosh, where? Gal, what was the project? It's not making it easy on me to like bleep a blop. But let me see. This is time for New Hampshire primary. Oh, this is them covering it. Okay, here we go. Let's try this. Oops. January. Okay, the Lincoln Project et al. It's clear that Trump is political poison to moderates. Sane and moral Republicans said their conscience won't allow them to vote for a chaos-driven maniac who is under 91 criminal counts, a proven sexual predator, an authoritarian wannabe who will shred the Constitution and burn this country down. Swing voters will flock to Joe Biden, who is growing the economy, creating jobs, and protecting individual liberties. Trump's head is so far up MAGA-land he can't help himself. He's dividing Americans, and it's not to his benefit. Tonight's results should make him sweat. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Oh, don't watch the Lincoln Project ad. It's very triggering. Okay. No problem. Yeah, right? Like, let's go for root cause, which is there are people who, because of bigotry, want to and fear that they're going to lose a piece of their pie, their imagined pie, that they are willing to give in. Yeah, don't watch it live. Oh, okay, I'll watch it. Who will prop up a man and a group who have proven that they don't have the best interests of humans at heart. So I mean, I'm 60 years old. I voted in a lot of elections, and my family was pretty political in terms of just like being kind of aware. Then let me open that. What's his name? I mean, it's just on the line. Shit's on the line. And we've got to engage people. And I want everyone to vote. I want conservatives to vote. I want all of that. I'm not trying to, I'm not so naive that I think that, somehow we're going to make it perfect, or that, we're just so much better. That's not it. But there's definitely a group that's focused on not having. Where is Brent? Is that him? Oh, is this? Okay, here, let me share this. Hold on. I think I've got it. It's not copying over as well, so don't worry about it. Sacrifice so-called security, and it's not even security, right? It is actually a lack of security. It's the exact opposite of that. Because he has already when I say he, I mean the machine that is the GOP right now, and the messages that they're endorsing, either by their silence or by their agreement, is that they have no problem stripping individual liberties away from people and denying equal protection under the law because of either who you sleep with, or that you are a teacher. You know what I mean? So it has been expressly said that enemies of their state will be prosecuted. And they know how to do it now, right? They were feckless to a certain degree in the beginning. And now that machine is not so feckless. So we cannot take it for granted. And we really have to we have to focus. All right, let me pull up that one tweet. Sorry, I bleed blah blue bleed blah blue blah 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 blah. All right, here we go. Brent Peabody. I think this is the tweet. Let me see if this is this the tweet, Gal, that you were referring to? The one that says interesting. No, this is it, Peace Love. You've hit on it. He needs blowouts, right? In his mind, and that campaign team, right? Brad Parscale's there. He's still there. Dan Scavino's there. Stephen Miller is there, right? All these people, all the same people are still whispering in his ear. He is convinced that he is going to blow everybody out of the fucking water. And they're just not. And it's going to get worse, because he's going to get into other states. Well, like New Hampshire is actually fairly, there are liberals in New England. There's a lot, actually. So I think it's going to be a surprise. Look what happened in Maine. It's tough to elect a liberal in Maine because of the hunting. Because every time a conservative wants to win in Maine, they fucking include some kind of gun control issue in the thing so that they get a turnout, or a bear hunting thing. You know what I'm saying? That's fucking how Maine does it. That's Maine does it. So anyway, okay, let me find this thing. I'm sorry, technology's not really helping me right now. I'm sorry, so sorry. Here we go. I've got it, Gal. No worries. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, here we go. Looks like there's a couple of good ones. Okay. Biden is hitting 70%. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? We're going to read all of them, frankly. Oh, fuck me. Come on. Brent, make it easier on the old lady. I don't want that. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to just do this. I was trying to avoid it, making it easier, but I didn't. I made it harder. Typical, 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 typical. We're there. Hold on. Do, 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 do. Just open it in the browser. Open it in the browser. Oh my God, technology is not my friend. Do it. Do it. Don't open it in the fucking app. Okay. There we come. Oh, okay. It's trying to kill me. All right. No problem. I don't mind being killed. All right, let me just do it the old-fashioned way. New Hampshire is showing the media what normal Dems already knew. Biden is very popular with the Democratic base. He will be our nominee. And if you want to stop Trump, it's time to rally behind him now. Democratic results. Unprocessed write-ins, 15,898 out of 21,520. So 74%. That was 2 hours ago. Let me see what is going. I'm done. Okay. Yeah, that. Not having a good one. Okay. New Hampshire results show that Republicans still have a big college town problem. If he's losing them by 50 points in the primary, he's losing them by even more in the general. That spells big trouble in the general. That's interesting. Let me actually get that one too, because that's a good one. Oh wait. Philly, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Lansing are essentially big college towns. Yeah, there's a lot of, and you know what? During COVID, I don't know why I can't get this thing to fucking go. I'm sorry, gal. Just not helping me right now. Okay, fine. Let me just do this. Oh, okay. Sorry. And it was going so well. Okay. All right, great. It's not working. Fuck it. Okay. This is good. So Brent, I'm going to link this too, but please go to the tweet from Brent Peabody that gal so kindly shared with us, and you will see great, amazing information. And here's another one. Anyway, I know it's not working. It's just, I can't explain why it's not working, but it's not. But the real world is fake news because he did win. Like no one has ever seen before. Like no one's ever won this much before. Increasing limits on your beaver hunting. Yes, exactly. Did you know? Can I tell you a story? My dad lived in Missouri, right? He was born in the Midwest. And my dad was very old. Like he was born in the 20s. Anyway, my dad was a farmer. You know, my grandfather was a farmer, pig farmer. And my father and my uncle would trap beaver in Missouri and sell the pelts to fucking LL Bean. That is part of how they made money. They were really poor. They were poor farmers. But yeah, that's how he told me stories about how they would hunt beaver and send the pelts to LL Bean. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I don't think he was lying. I think I'm going to show people at work. I'm like, oh, Jen, you just gave me an amazing idea. Jen, we get pictures of people like Navarro, Garrett Ziegler, Steve Bannon, Boris Epstein, Ginny Thomas, Cleta Mitchell, Mike Flynn, Ivan Raiklen. We get a bunch of pictures and do a man on the street. Do you recognize this person and what are they famous for? That could be funny. We could have fun with that. I could do that on Hollywood Boulevard. That would be really fun. Wait till he actually, I know. See, the thing is he will lose the whatever thinking Republicans think they're normal. Yeah, I bet you they do too. There's definitely the chuds know. The chuds definitely know. Here's another Brent Peabody that we were just reading in case you wanted to get to that. Oh, the scared ketchup. I'm sorry. We got to get to the scared ketchup. Video it. Yeah, no, I will video it. Yeah, absolutely. No, not you. You don't need to video. Oh no, I will do that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. YouTube. What is that? What's that? Video of trappers. I don't know if this is gonna work. Okay, wait, hold on. I know what's gonna happen. Oh shit. Hold on. I never saw video of it. Kids in the Hall Trapper. We can't watch that. We can't watch that. They're gonna copyright me if we watch that. But you definitely should go ahead and click the link that oomph. It's not a blind link. It's a Kids in the Hall. Oh, wait, what? What is it? That's not the right one. What the hell? Hold on. Yeah, Kids in the Hall. That's a Kids in the Hall video. Oh yeah, definitely in the dino. Oh yeah, definitely the dino should do it. Although the dino's kind of hard to talk to people in, although it's not impossible. Jen, I love it. Jen, I love it. Jen, we're gonna start our own company troupe or comedy troupe. How about that? How about that? We'll be like guerrilla comics. And if they do know who he is, ask how and why. Why do you know who he is? Why? I definitely would. I definitely would. Oh yeah. I mean, I think it would be interesting. If nothing, and not to film. You don't have to film it, but I think it would be interesting. I just thought that's a great like icebreaker for doing some interaction on the street in like a Hollywood Boulevard thing. That'd be a good icebreaker interaction, quick and easy and stuff like that. So super cool. Yeah, you know what? People love Dino. Dino's really cool. And actually it's not impossible to talk to people in the Dino costume. I could do it. So I might do that. I would need a camera person. So I might have to wait until I get access to a camera person. But I could do it. Girl, you and I think alike. I definitely, if I'm going to show pictures and talk and interview and all that shit, I'm going to need a camera person. That's fine. I'll find someone. I'm sure we can find someone, but I'll wait until the weather's a little nicer. Yeah, but definitely watch the Kids in the Hall and look at all the links that Gal dropped because those are really, God, thank you, Gal. Every time, Gal is so amazing. I wish you were closer too. We should all go out and party. I would love to have like a big bonfire on the beach for all of the loungers. I think it would be amazing. Okay, so wait, we've been on for 3 hours and 20 minutes. Okay. Later tonight, in about 2 hours, less than 2 hours, I will be back here, but we will be in sleep mode at that point. And I will be reading chapter 8 of Prequel and providing commentary. And that is the book by Rachel Maddow, recently released about about American fascism, beginning with the rise of the Nazi Party in America in the 1930s. So we're reading that. We're on chapter 8. There is a playlist on my channel. So just go to my channel, go to the playlist, and you'll see bedtime stories, bedtime with Lolo, and Prequel. And that is the first 7 chapters. And so you could probably speed through that before we get to chapter 8 tonight. All right. Wonderful. And then tomorrow, maybe I'll take a drive. I mean, I have to take a drive anyway. I have to leave. When do I have to leave? I have to leave at like noon or maybe 11 my time. I have to leave pretty early because it's pretty far down there in Orange County. But I've never been there before and I'm really curious about the town. So anyway, yeah, so I might film that because it might be a nice drive. It'll depend on the weather. So we'll see. But that might be nice and soothing. We'll just put some music on, just do a chill stream, low key. Yeah, I want a hug. I want a hug, Val. You will. We're going to meet. I just feel like that. I feel like I don't know. I feel like this is a good community. I would take that hug, Val. I would take that hug and I would return that hug. Yeah, no, I'm so appreciative of you guys. Thanks for coming tonight. And then I hope I see you in less than 2 hours. And if I don't, yeah, definitely Gal. Oh, I can't wait to hug Gal. And J Rans and Tina and Clay. I already hugged Jim, so I've already seen him in real life. Absolutely. Oh, the ADD doesn't work with audio. Yeah. Well, you know what? And that's the thing. It's just out there. And the thing about it is maybe it's just something you throw on in the back because hopefully the volume is at such a place where it's not like, jarring to you, but I'll take any notes that you have. Absolutely, Val. Me too. Oh my God. Could we have a Trump is in prison party, please? Oh my God. This is a beautiful idea. Oh. I don't know. We got to figure something out. Oh, hugs to you too, Siegfried. All right, my loves. Well, I'm gonna eat some dinner and clean my ass up and get ready for a beautiful reading tonight and to tuck you into bed. So, there's Tom. It could be burning the orange man in effigy in Ludlow at Lolo's Lounge. Lolo's Lounge. You didn't. You didn't. That is crazy. You're crazy. I love you. Oh, Ivan, you're a doll. I'm the best. I'm the best friends. Tom. All right. Sweet. Oh, you guys are the best. Ivan, you're so sweet. All right. Good night. Good night, my loves. I will see you in a couple of hours. Boop, 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 boop. Wait, let's put on some goodbye music. Hold on. What should be our goodbye music? Well, we'll do this one. Later. Wait, I gotta get that link. Hold on. Getting that link for you, Ivan. You guys gotta watch this video that Ivan sent. Hold on, let me find it. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. Oh my God, we're gonna show this. Hold on, everybody stay. Don't leave. Wait, I gotta turn the music off. Hold on. Hold on. Don't leave. Wait. Hold on, let me find it. Oh shit. No, that's not it. Oh crap. Oh, Jesus Christ on a cracker. Hold on. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, I just had it. Wait, I want to see. Oh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Okay, it's 9 minutes, so you guys are going to have to hang in there for 9 minutes. All right? Hold on. Am I going to get in trouble for playing this? I'm not going to get in trouble for playing this, am I? Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Here we go. Oh my God. Ivan.
The Bounty Hunter.
And I'm Clarence Thomas Suppository.
The Trump Show episode 30 will begin shortly, but first, Clarence and I have a big announcement.
That's right. Marge and I are officially an item.
Yes, you see, we have been working together a lot lately on the Now That's What I Call MAGA commercials, and well, it just happened.
The heart wants what the heart wants.
So true. So true.
The same can be said for the penis.
The llamas. You are so romantic.
We are heading out to the countryside right now to consummate our relationship with some sweet, sweet lovemaking.
But not the weird graphic kind that will piss off the YouTube algorithm.
Well, Marge, I was hoping it could be a little weird. You see, I'm not too into vanilla, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, you're a suppository, so I guess that is sort of implied.
Cool, baby, cool. I just didn't want there to be any sudden surprises that might, sully the vibe. Do you feel me?
Well, on second thought, maybe we're moving a little too fast. And what about your wife, Jeannie?
Oh, that insurrectionist twat. Don't worry about her. She's busy trying to subvert democracy. She'll never find out about us, I promise.
Well, at least I know that horny men never lie to get what they want, so I'll take your word for it.
Groovy, baby. Let's get this hot mandingo party started.
We will, my little backdoor man, but first we have a job to do.
Of course, here's the latest Now That's What I Call MAGA single from America's favorite Christo-fascist nut jobs, the Johnsons.
Hello, folks. It's me, Jose Biden-Endez, and I want to talk to you today about scared catch-up. You see, old man Ketch often spends 70 hours a week making just one video. That's right, 70 hours. He's also a single dad to 2 preteen little ketchup packets, and he is 90% fan-supported. Now, you know I hate asking, but the strength of this grassroots comedy campaign depends on you. And that's not a joke. It's not an exaggeration. So whatever you can give by hitting that super thanks button, the buy me a coffee link, or by dropping Ketch a couple bucks to his PayPal address, scaredketchup@icloud.com, it will go a lot further today than the same donation later on. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and we'll sure look better doing that work, wearing some sweet Scared Ketchup swag. Now available at his Etsy store. The links are on the channel page. So come on, dig deep and help keep Scared Ketchup alive and cranking out the sweet giggle shtick until we beat Orange Julius Caesar next November. Come on, folks, chip in today. Let's get it done.
I'm Barry Obanka, and I approve of this message.
Let's indict them. 6 o'clock, I become being indicted again.
Hey, folks, it's me, your favorite president.
And me, your favorite congressional representative of Colorado's 3rd District, who decided yesterday that I can't win my old seat back in 2024 because the family values dipshits in my district won't vote for me after handjob gate. So I will run in the 4th District instead to fill retiring Ken Buck's seat in an even more Republican district. Because in Colorado, voters don't choose their representatives. Representatives choose their voters.
Wait, what?
Yeah, bro, what? Did I stutter?
No, you didn't, but I guess that was just a lot.
Disparate times call for desperado measures, you feel me?
So let me get this straight. You know you can't beat Adam Frisch in the 3rd District because you juiced that rando's Beetle in the theater with children present. So you're running in the 4th District instead, where a monkey with syphilis could win with a MAGA hat?
Exactamundo, my bloated, smelly muchacho.
Brilliant, I say. Pure genius. And so freaking MAGA.
I know, right?
So folks, some of you may be wondering, what is the deal with our kooky new look this week?
And some of you may have given up completely trying to figure out what the hell this train wreck of a show is all about at all.
For those of you in the former category, we are currently wearing our New Year's Eve party costumes.
That's right. I am going as Slutty Lady Liberty.
And does Slutty Lady Liberty have a message?
She sure does. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, and make sure they have at least 20 bucks cash and enough for 2 Red Robin Appletinis, and they just might get a handsy in the back of the Uber.
Now that's how you make America great again.
I'm a patriot.
And of course, my New Year's costume is totally self-explanatory.
Right. It's just you wearing what you always wear, a diaper. Cute, but not super creative.
No, Bobo, that's not it. I'm Baby New Year. I symbolize the birth of 2024, the year I resume my rightful role as president.
Are you sure you don't just symbolize a fat guy in a diaper resuming your rightful role as incontinent pariah, despised and reviled by 85% of all humanity?
Now let's meet our first guest for today, the man formerly known as America's mayor, coming to you direct from his brand new luxury apartment on 5th Avenue in New York City. Say hello to Rudy Giuliani.
Hey, Donald. Hey, Bobo. Welcome to my new crib. Pretty cool, right?
Is that a crib? Because it kind of looks like a cardboard box.
Oh, no, nine nunca nada. It's a crib, all right, and it's all mine.
Yeah, Rudy, when you said you were moving to 5th Avenue, I didn't think you meant the actual street.
Bro. It's not the street, bro. I'm just off the street in some prime alley real estate, and I'm elevated.
How exactly are you elevated?
I'm high as a kite, bitches. Ha, 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 ha.
Rudy, you seem a little tipsy. Have you been hitting the sauce again?
No way, dude. No. No sauce for me, bro. Only alcohol. Straight up alcohol in a bucket with a twist of my life is over.
Hey, Rudy, we get it. $148 million settlement against you for defaming those Georgia election workers, and your upcoming $10 million suit for sexual harassment and assault must be a lot to deal with.
Yeah. All that stuff. Hey, look, it's my cat, Clarence. He's trying to steal my buffalo chicken slider from Arby's. Get. Fuck you, Clarence.
So the latest news is that bankruptcy may not protect you in the Georgia judgment. How in hell will you pay those two women what you owe them?
Easy peasy, Mr. Sleazy. I'm going to be a movie star.
A movie star?
That's right. And I already did my first film, A MAGA Christmas Story, now streaming only on Truth Social. Roll the clip.
Roll the clip.
How do the little piggies go?
That's right. Oink, oink.
Okay, you little nose picker. Now show me how the piggies eat. And get real piggy with it because you know your father loves that shit.
No, Marge, father does not like the whole eat like a piggy thing.
Do it. Be a good boy. Show mommy how the piggies eat.
Who's the woman?
Jesus Christ, I'm about to blow chunks for fuck's sake. Excuse me.
Mommy's little piggy.
Cause I've had the time of my life, and I owe it all to you.
Everybody falls.
Okay. All right. That is hilarious. Oh my God. Thank you, Ivan, for that little laugh. That little funny. Thank you so much. All right. Now I really am going to say goodbye, but I am going to see you in approximately an hour and a half if you have time. So see you later. Thank you so much for making this a very fun, impromptu experience, having to go through the primary, not alone. So thank you so much. All right. I'll see you later. Bye. Let's do different music now that we did that. Okay, we'll do next.